Speaking of making the work, Squatic finally making some inroads here on behalf of...
Absolutely gets in the back. Shadows.
Oh my god. Hello?
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 Uh-oh.
Hello?
Blur? Hello?
I don't think this time. They're not going to get back in touch. Nobody's noticed. No.
33% to a bomb, but BDO sitting with 4 ultimates of their own. This next fight.
They can follow up a little bit of aggression. This effect could be used. I think this is everybody. He does!
The anti-nade came through, and as much as we saw, man, this is dirty. Oh,
Yeah,
no.
Alcian popping it on everyone. The long spawns and over.
Wow.
It looks like look at Kid Talks. Oh my god! Look at triple. Could that be the difference? I need coming out. Terrible. Try and take up the difference. Let's get it. Oh, there's a tip. Alright everybody, welcome to a night of firsts here for ZA Overwatch. My name is SunPheonyx and I'm joined by NaoriMizuki. Welcome.
Hey, it's something that's not a first. It's the SunPheonyx Naori duo once again.
Guys,
Oh,
come up
yeah,
with a
dude.
name for that so we can stop saying our full names.
Yeah, please.
But the firsts are our first look tonight at Vanguard Overwatch, a team with some familiar players on it. We'll jump into that a little bit later. And the other first is, of course, this will be our first look at the OverwatchByATK tournament. We're starting off with the calibration tournament, which is just a 6-week group stage into bracket stage where we're trying to seed the teams in the most fair way possible for the stages themselves, which is where the teams will be playing off. All, of course, aimed towards the LAN finals, coronavirus willing, at the end of the year in sort of August period. You know where that is or what story is, but I promise it will happen if the government says it's okay, obviously. and everyone's looking forward to that, of course. 50k on the line overall in this tournament, so lots to play for here for these teams. And speaking of the teams, we've got Rage Quit Odyssey, a team we've seen more than any other team in South Africa. We have stats to back that up, okay? They've played 6 games and we've casted 5 of them, so we're very familiar with this team. And Vanguard, like I said, playing their first game as a team under this new banner today in the ATK tournament and in general. So exciting stuff here.
Yeah, I think one of the things that is really important to note, RQ Odyssey, one of these teams that's kind of middle of the pack at the moment. If you take a look at their performance in RMG, they've played 6 games, won 3, lost 3. So like full on middle class lining this one at the moment.
Back differential of 0 as well. So they literally could not be more 50-50 if they tried.
And I think that that's probably the perfect team for Vanguard to be coming up against first. It's not one of your powerhouse teams like ATK that could potentially kind of roll you in the dirt. And it's not one of your kind of lower tier teams that might skew the perspective. You're coming up against a full-on middle of the pack team, and I think that's going to give us a really good idea of where they might fit in with the rest of the teams going forward in the rest of the competition. So I'm looking forward to seeing what they're going to pull out for us tonight.
Exactly. It should be give us a nice sense of, in general, where they stack up in the top half of teams or in the bottom half of teams. I think on paper, this team should be looking towards the top 6, right? Top tier of the teams, and we'll run to the roster in a moment, and you'll see why. But we're not expecting them to be fighting with the ATKs and the 2CPs just yet. Maybe just below the EVOs and OGs, and in the mix with Odyssey. I think this should be quite an even matchup, depending on how these teams show up today. But speaking about rosters, we'll run through the Odyssey roster again. Pretz, Trigger Happy, JRV26, Assassin JDB, Fluffy, and Shadows. All players we're very familiar with. We've seen them all play. This is a team that suffers a little bit from some what's the word for musical chairs when it comes to their roster. So they've got 3 subs that they sub in at very regular intervals, and we can't always tell why they're doing that, but it's not for us to say. As long as they know what they're doing, as long as Fluffy knows what he's doing, they have a plan, right? But it's led them to some mixed results. But I think this one we're looking at right now, this is their strongest roster. JRV and Assassin on the DPS, 2 really strong DPSs backing all the way back to the Talent Cup. Pretz is their most consistent main tank, Sanchin being the other one, and is also quite a significant leadership figure for this team, as I understand it. Trigger Happy, the Diva Bomb Master, expect some big bombs from this young man, and Shadows and obviously Fluffy is the one constant on this team. You'll never see a roster run without Fluffy, pretty much, and Shadows as well. on that main support. Then looking over at Vanguard, we've got Stalker, Von, Pyro, James, Phoenix, and Possum. Lots of familiar names if you've been around for a little bit, but some new names as well. You know anything about this team, Nori?
No. I think we did actually kind of talk about Von, and he'd been on... What team was it? We said
Vendetta. I think it was
Vendetta. Yeah, possibly.
According to Peach, it was Vendetta, but I can't.
Yeah, please, guys, don't shoot the messenger. If you want to go complain to somebody, he's at ThePeachZA on Twitter.
Yeah,
you can go find him there and go yell at him. But aside from that, I don't really know these players. I think this is like a proper new team, and as I understand it, they're all fairly high ranking. By fairly high, I mean, you know, like high diamond, which is pretty good for the South African scene, let's face it. So I think that this could be a pretty good matchup. Although you have to remember that this is their first official as a team. Now, we don't know how long have they been together, how long have they been practicing, are they scrimming, do they have a coach? There are so many factors involved. We know that RQ Odyssey has a coach, Blur is their coach, so they do have some kind of set stats, or strats rather, somebody that is watching their VODs, telling them, you know, you need to be doing this, you need to be doing that, giving them that little bit of an extra edge. We don't know if Vanguard has that. Are they just kind of going on their own intuition, do like 2 or 3 of them sit and watch OWL every now and then and go, yo, this comp is so good, we should try this? We have no idea. So I think this is a little bit of a dark horse, a little bit of a wild card, but it could be good. Could be exciting.
Could be, for sure. So other than Von, of course, we've got Stalker, who I believe is quite new to the competitive scene, hasn't really played on a team up until now. Pyro, Phoenix, and James. I know Pyro and Phoenix were on the DDC Divinity squad that then moved into the Leyden squad, that then moved out of the Leyden squad. So this is their new home. James was also associated with the Leyden squad. I'm not sure who he was with before that, if anybody. And Possum is a player I'm not familiar with at all.
DDC
Possum is apparently also from Dominion. Really? Who was he on Dominion? Wasn't it Slade and Impunda?
Who was he?
Okay, so apparently he was from Dominion. I don't know. So a couple of familiar names there, like we said, but interesting to see how they perform here. We have no info on this team other than the strength of their roster on paper. So this should be pretty exciting to see.
What is going to be interesting is obviously it's Busan first map. And currently, Odyssey has a 0% win map on Busan.
Yeah, not looking good on Busan, and they've had 2 opportunities to play it. But bear in mind they've also played ATK and 2CP already, so that's going to account for a lot of their losses. And so otherwise, other than those 2 teams, they've gone 3-1, which is not too bad. But yeah, so far Busan not the strongest map for RQ Odyssey. Unfortunately, and Control in general, 60% win rate on broadcasted matches, so not too bad overall.
Well, Control is a very interesting beast, and this is something I always like to kind of touch on a little bit when I do my casts, and that is that Control relies very heavily on mechanical skill. Yes, don't get me wrong, teamwork, very, very important, but very often you can just get by on being mechanically better than the other team, just outskilling them. That's kind of less prevalent on all the other maps. You really do need to have quite a lot more coordination and team synergy on the other map types. But for Control, yeah, you can lean on it a little bit more. So that might give us a little bit of an indication of how the rest of the match is going to go as we start out here on downtown Busan, and looking like we're going to see that Pharaoh Widow. You love to see it on downtown. Some fantastic sightlines, beautiful skybox for that Pharaoh to get tons of value. Happy to see Pyro on the counter Widow, but it's going to be difficult trying to deal with a Widowmaker and a Pharaoh because James on the Genji might have a little bit of a tough time getting some value on that one. We'll see how well it goes for them.
Yeah, I'll have to see indeed. Threats on that Winston as well, going to make it even harder for James to get anything done. But James's job here is to get on top of JRV's Widowmaker and make it much easier for Pyro to win that duel. Speaking of which, Pyro going to be taking that duel here right out the gate. Phoenix on his back on the Mercy with the damage boost. Ooh, okay. Assassin JDB finds Phoenix in the background. JRV uses that opportunity to take Pyro down with a beautiful headshot. We're looking at James here as he tries to get aggressive with his main tank, but he's going to get low. Yeah, Winston taken down here by JRV. So far, having a pretty good start to this matchup. Good control here for Odyssey as they look to take first point on Busan downtown.
And that's it exactly. That's what you want to do with the Widow and the Pharah. You create that crossfire. You've got Widow up on that high ground, Pharah around the corner, damage coming in from different directions. It splits up the attention of the team, and Vanguard just weren't able to deal with it. Now, they're going to be coming back into this. Of course, they haven't really built up too many ultimates. Von, however, really looking good towards that self-destruct. Massive ult charge here. In fact, one of the furthest along, aside from Fluffy, getting dangerously close to that nano boost as well. These are potentially fight-winning ultimates.
Yeah, 100%. Speaking of fight winning, they're not even trying to win the fight here. Or Vanguard Overwatch can try and cap the point right under Odyssey's noses, but Odyssey smart enough to that. So far, nobody's died. As I say that, JRV finds the pick onto Possum's honor there. Can they find anything more here? Oh, this position from JRV completely safe and impossible to get on top of. Really nice play from the Widowmaker from Odyssey here as Assassin JDB puts the damage down from the sky, but it's Fluffy getting the picks, but he pays for it with his life. But Assassin on that Pharah gonna get it the pick onto Stalker's Winston, and it looks like Odyssey still in control here of downtown.
That was such a weird engage from Vanguard. They just kind of walked onto the point and were like, hey guys, like nothing happened. They just... That's the worst part. They just walked onto point and kind of like, hey, and started getting, value. But they are going to come into this next fight with the Primal Rage and that self-destruct. Oh, but we're going to start things out with the sights from JRV6, and that is perfect. It's going to tell them exactly where Vanguard are at any given time, and there's the capitalization.
Yeah, immediately Assassin JDB takes advantage of that, finding Phoenix again on that Mercy. She's been dropping quite early in these fights. They need to do a better job of protecting her, or she needs to update her positioning a little bit here. Trigger Happy does have this bomb. We've seen him do magical things with it. As Pyro finds a pick onto JRV, but there's a Nano in the background. But no, it's James with the Genji blade. He's getting things done here. He finds the pick onto the Pharah during an ultimate, but Shadow's gonna bring him back up. You've got to try and punish those if you're Vanguard here, but not looking good for them as JRV finds the pick onto Pyro. Stalker putting in the damage here on the point. He does have that Primal Rage. Will he choose to commit it? He's running out of time. He's running out of options here. He's probably going to have to throw that one in. As Trigger Happy throws the bomb up in the sky here. Oh, sorry, that's not Trigger Happy. Phoenix brings back Pyro, and a flurry of kills will secure Vanguard the point here, finally getting a foothold on Busan.
That was a very dangerous kind of touch and go fight there for Vanguard. It almost looked like Odyssey were going to turn that around and bring it back in their favor, but self-destruct came out, forced the rest of Odyssey off of the point and allowed them to capture and take control. So now, as we move into this next fight, all we really have here from Vanguard is the Primal Rage. Yes, they're going to have the sights, and that's going to give them the information that they need, but is it going to be enough? That doesn't really win you fights. On the other hand, Odyssey going to be coming in here with the self-destruct. They've also got the Nano Boost ready to go. If they pop that onto Pretz, help him build up his Primal Rage, and he can use that to juggle people off point, that could be exactly what they need to get back onto point and regain control.
Yeah, 100%. Let's see. That's a big anti-nade from Fluffy in here. Pretz taking a ton of damage, but getting aggressive onto the back line here. But it's the DPS and the tank on the front line here for Vanguard, getting the picks that they need to secure them this team fight. Odyssey probably going to have to regroup here. We do see Pretz on the point trying to get something done. Stalker going to try and kill him before anyone goes down. Trigger Happy commits the ulti there. Rather interesting committal given the situation in this team fight. So many players down. Vanguard going to hold firm here at 62%.
Might have been kind of a remake self-destruct, I'm not too sure, but got taken out by James kind of mid-remaking. Oh man, what a beautiful kind of exit entry pick-off. I'm not too sure what that qualifies as, but a nice little shot there.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
James finds another pick here onto JRV. This is a really bad start to this team fight. They forced the res out of Odyssey, and Pyro finds another one. So far, he's been getting a lot out of this duel in terms of the two hit scan players. James finds a pick onto Pretz. He's taken down. As we look at Pyro here, now on the point. James putting his ulti into the Pharah. He finds two, and Stalker gonna get the pick onto Shadows as well. And Vanguard, after a shaky start, come back really strong to take the first point of Busan.
It took them a little while. They had to invest quite a lot of ultimates in that fight that eventually did win them the point, and they came dangerously close to not actually flipping it over at all. The nano boosted blade is what ultimately won them that fight, and when you think about it, it's what helped them keep control of the point in that very last fight as that barrage came through and we saw the nano boost go on to James, took down the Pharaoh, and we got the last little bit of cleanup and they were able to hold on to point. So it looks like they may struggle to engage and have to use a few ultimates to kind of force a foothold. But once they have that foothold, they've got a pretty good and solid grasp on it, and they do manage to maintain control of the point. But same can be said for Odyssey, of course. They did get it all the way to 99 before it was flipped over. So kind of evenly matched here. And I'm curious to see how we're going to do with this brawl composition that these teams are coming out with. Very different to the dive. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, very much so. Both teams going to just put a ton of damage here at close range. Nothing too finicky going on here, but they do have the Sombra. Speaking of which, James going to punch her into the ocean. Quick death for the Mexican hacker there. Fluffy finds a return though onto Phoenix. Is Trigger Happy dropping low here, but Pretz, he's on the point. He's going to try and secure his team. Good position here, good place to hold with Pyro. Finds the pick onto JRV after dropping Trigger Happy out of his mech. And James, DPS here, working together with Vaughn on the Zarya to pick up 2 towards the end of that, and Vanguard firmly in control now on Busan.
Assassin gets a little bit of revenge there onto James, but it's not enough to help them take control of the point, and we are going to see, as you say, Vanguard taking an early control here and already have 3 ultimates in their bank for this next fight. That is ridiculous. Oh, there we go. Nice little engagement call.
Yeah, from Fluffy, the only ultimate that had been built up on the side of Odyssey now. He used James on the Doomfist. He gets the punch through onto Pritz, pushes it back. He does have his ulti. If he chooses to commit it, but he shut it down. Can they take him down? No, he's still alive. He gets charged back. Stalker putting in so much work with his own shadow here. Is Trigger Happy, dropped out of his mech. And it looks like Vanguard weather the storm there, commit only 2 ultimates, and hold the point.
Very well played there, and we saw Odyssey kind of coming in there with the coalescence. Started out and they used the counter shatter, but by that point they'd already lost a couple of members, so it didn't even matter even if they had got value out of it. Really unfortunate. And they come into this next fight with just, well, they've actually got quite a few ultimates to work with here. If they can get off a nice EMP, then that could be exactly what they need.
Trigger Happy, known for his bombs, but this time making good use of the defense matrix, eating up Von's ultimate. That's not what you want to see if you're a Vanguard fan. As the bomb goes in, he finds nothing just yet, but Jeremy gonna find a kill with the Death Blossom onto Phoenix, who did not have her ultimate up. She was closing in at a rapid rate, but it's good to find the pick early for Odyssey. But now, finally, the hack comes through, the EMP from the Sombra. Can they get any kills here? No kills, going the opposite direction. This is the opposite of what you want to see if you're Odyssey, as Pyro picks off both tanks during the EMP, and that's a disaster for Odyssey.
Yeah, they committed quite a few ultimates into that fight and didn't get any value out of it. That's super unfortunate. Even using, they dropped the self-destruct, the Death Blossom, and the EMP, and all they have coming into this next fight are the 2 support ultimates. Bearing in mind, Vanguard have a sound barrier, but nothing else to speak of either. It's going to be a fairly even fight here.
Yeah, committal earlier from Shadows Lucio. This is a good start for Odyssey now as they get the pick onto Phoenix. She did have her ulti. She was close. Kill. Fritz finds Possum in the backline now. No healing on the side of Vanguard. Can Odyssey take advantage? They need to watch for James's doom as he picks off Assassin in the backline, but he's taken down nicely by Assassin. Or JRV, sorry, and here comes the shadow in from Fritz. Gonna clean him up with the assistance of JRV. Finally, Odyssey managed to take control back.
Yeah, nice little domination Earth Shatter there just to kind of drive the point home, but might have been a little bit of an overcommitment because now they don't really have too much to work with. They're going to have the Death Blossom, but of course that is a fairly easily countered ultimate. You need to get a ton of value out of that or it's just not going to work. Meanwhile, Vanguard coming in here with 4 ultimates, including the Death Blossom very soon. They have everything to work with.
Oh, and they're playing like it, getting so aggressive, running straight in there. And just everywhere. Explosions abound. Death Blossom coming through here, not finding anything for JRV, and that's what he needed to win this team fight. Because he found nothing, they will not win this team fight. Odyssey gonna get taken down here. Vanguard stamping their authority on Busan here. I suppose it's not quite over yet though as the respawns come in, but there's a Reaper in your backline. There's little on the point here. Flip coming through from Vanguard in a moment. I'm sure there's a Death Blossom in the backline. Finds Fluffy before he can regroup with the team. The Coalescence gonna pick people off and on the Zarya with big charge. Somebody managed to get in here. There's a Tracer somewhere. There's a Sombra somewhere, but it's not happening. Vanguard fully in control of Busan and they take a 2-0.
Wow, and shame, I felt so bad for Assassin there, just kind of chilling there in stealth mode, waiting for an opportunity. just to touch point, try to get that overtime contest going through. But unfortunately, Odyssey going down a lot more easily in the second map than what we saw on the first map.
Yeah.
Vanguard, it felt like they really started to ramp it up. Once they took control on downtown, and from there onwards, it was just like a full-on momentum swing, and they took a solid hold. They will take the first map in the series. Looking forward to seeing what they're going to bring for us on the second map, because they seem to be doing fairly well, whether it be their dive or their brawl. They're playing it quite well, and they're one-upping Odyssey at every turn.
Yeah, 100%. Their ulti economy is actually looking. This team looks well practiced. Actually, they're not, well disciplined. They're not making silly mistakes or committing too much to team fights. Odyssey actually looking a bit flustered. It has to be said.
Yeah, have to agree. Now I believe the next map type is going to be a hybrid. Yeah. Options: Kings Row, Eichenwald, and Numbani. And of course,
Options: Kings Row. I don't know what you're talking about.
you know,
I don't know why
you
we have other hybrid maps in this flipping game.
Well, at least for the South African scene, right?
Yeah.
Like, oh no, there's a break. Should we just take a break while we wait, or do you want to vamp?
So
Well, then
yeah, there's a trigger is lagging at the moment, and
I mean, it's not going to take 5
bombs
minutes.
from him, so it might have been. So he's looking for a 5-minute break. I think we can keep going here, because I don't think it's going to take 5 minutes. I think it's going to take 2 seconds to fix it. So we'll have to see. Just a reminder, guys, this is the Overwatch by ATK tournament. If you guys would be so grand as to go out and tweet about it and Facebook about it, whatever kids, Instagram, TikToks, all of the good stuff. I don't know. I'm basically a boomer. I don't know how social media works. Just do things about ATK out in public. Don't leave your house, obviously. That's against the law. But if you guys can go out and talk about it, just a reminder, this is the calibration tournament. This is Group D, which we haven't mentioned yet, which also consists of Peach's team, 2XS, and a third team, Ironic Overdogs, which is... It's actually quite a hotly contested group, with Z-Lord being added to the IO team. They're looking much stronger than when Odyssey, for example, faced them in RMG. So it should be an interesting matchup when these two teams face each other, Odyssey and Ironic Overdogs. But that's a little bit away. And then 2XS, probably the least good, I want to say, of those teams, which Peach will happily admit to, I think. But otherwise, a pretty strong group. And so far, just Ironic Overdogs and 2XS have faced each other, and IO took that 3-0. So all to play for here in Group D. Just a reminder, the top 2 teams from the group stage, from each group, there are 4 groups, head over to the bracket stage in the upper bracket. The bottom 2 head to the lower bracket. And then we play a bracket stage throughout to there. Top 8 go to the Premier Division or the equivalent, and bottom 8 go to the second division or the first division or whatever we're calling it. I don't even know. So that's what's at stake here, just for the calibration tournament. Of course, that'll be followed up by 2 stages, and as I mentioned before, all aim towards the 50k prize pool, land 20k, I believe, on the line for the winning team. So quite a bit to play for here, but this is still early days. This is when you want to get your roster sorted out. So a team like Vanguard, even if they don't perform here, you've got plenty of time to bring it all together and find a roster or a configuration that works for them.
Yes, I agree with everything that was just said. I was totally listening. Something that we didn't actually talk about at the start of the broadcast is just the bans for this week.
Yes,
for those of you that don't know, it is Wrecking Ball, May, Marie, and Brigitte. Thankfully, not as stifling as last week's comp bans. Those
Perfect. Loved it. Remove all the hit scan from the game.
And then let Farah just reign supreme in the sky. It seems like a great idea.
Let Farah win.
Yes, so the bans this week are not as oppressive, and for those that aren't aware, the bans were picked by Soe's cat, which is just pretty cool. Overwatch is an anime.
She picked May, which is pretty good.
I actually like May, but I'm one of those weirdos,
Wow.
so...
Only
Yeah.
people who like May are people who play May. Everybody else
I don't play May, though. I play
wants to
support.
die.
which is
But
weird.
but you don't play Overwatch either, so let's.
What do you mean? I played COD for like 6 hours today.
Oh really? Okay.
Yeah, I lost a lot.
So what do you play that you don't hate May? I don't
know. I played like Mercy and Moira.
Yeah,
I don't play main tank.
You should play main tank. Oh,
I would rather not play main. I
outlook on everything.
actually did my main tank placements and I placed silver, so never doing that again. Yeah, so it was not a good time.
I think playing main tank makes you hate everything in the game.
Yes.
Because it sucks all the butts. Because every single stun in the game just feels infinitely worse on main tank, and you're under pressure all the time, and etc. etc. So looks like we're gonna have a sub here. Sanshin coming in for Trigger Happy. We've seen Sanshin come in for Pritz as well, but he has, when Trigger Happy is otherwise indisposed, Sanshin is the guy that comes in to replace him. So this is not an unusual look for the Odyssey squad. Like I said, musical chairs, but sometimes it works in your favor when you need a super sub.
We'll see that swap come in here. I'm not actually sure. Is the undersea cable fixed? Is that like...
Yes, that was fixed on Friday. Yeah.
Oh, good times for ZA players, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, but remember, everyone's at home and on, so pros and cons.
Yeah, it'd be like that. Everybody's internet's busy being upgraded left and right, except mine.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, you live in the first world, so you don't get to complain about anything.
You say that, but my internet is currently potato. Right. Well, so King's Row. It's a good map. We've spoken about it a lot over the course of the last 4 years because it's the only map that the South African scene ever plays. So not too sure what more can be said about King's Row at this point. Kind of hoping to see a little bit of a Torbjorn strat here. I've actually been seeing quite a lot of that recently. I think it gets a ton of value, particularly for those pesky, flanky type heroes like Doomfist, Sombra, Tracer, Genji. I mean, and really annoying buzzy people to get into the backline. And oh, do tell me that's legitimate. Pretty please, Assassin.
This is an unusual look for Odyssey because Odyssey and Blur teams coached by Blur in general tend to have a very samey approach. They tend to figure out the meta comp and then grind it until they're really good at it. So it's unusual to see them trying a whole lot of things here, but maybe realizing that it's not really been the approach that's working for them. So nice to see a little bit of a change of scenery for the Odyssey squad.
Well, maybe they saw Sure4's tweet, because Sure4 tweeted out that teams are playing Torbjorn to deal with like Sombra Doomfist. So maybe they were just like, oh, that is smart. That makes sense. We will play Torbjorn. Who knows?
Could definitely be a Sombra here for the side of Vanguard, choosing to run Pyro on the replay instead. But James, once again, on the Doomfist, we saw him use that to great effect on Busan. So let's see how this goes for them. Pyro, we see it on the Reaper moving in here. They're going through Hotel here on the back. Needs to be an intelligent move out here. They take the turret down. Nice and James gonna pick that one up here, but that's not a hero. It's temporary, and now he goes in very aggressively. James gonna get some charge on the shields, but not much else here. Just putting some damage in. Neither team committing too much just yet. Neither team losing anybody just yet. As Odyssey holding firm on the point for now. Shields dropping down though for the side of Pretz. He needs to be careful. He gets it back up now. The bubble's being used in the play. Assassin finds James. Pyro finds Pretz though, and that's the much bigger pick. The Doomfist is dispensable. The main tank is not, and you see the effect of that now. It means Vanguard can just get aggressive here onto the squishy insides of the Odyssey squad. As Sanshin's taken down, Fluffy gonna try and run his little Irish ass out of there, but unfortunately tracks him down with the laser beam of death. Picks up that kill as Vanguard take firm control in King's Row.
Oh yes, nice slow steady pacing here from Vanguard, taking the turret. Nice. James popping the bubble on him as well, make sure that he survives. Some great play here from Vanguard to take control of that point early on, and not playing too aggressively, just baiting out, using those abilities sparingly and making sure that they have them to use for whichever next fight. Now what I find interesting is that they're not choosing to hold up close here, and James going down super early is very really bad for Vanguard.
Really nice work from JRV there. He spots the Doomfist out and gets rid of him so quickly. They can't use, he was on a nice flanking position. They're looking to get in behind the main tank and punch him towards the rest of Vanguard, but JRV spots him out and pretty much wins the team fight off that move alone.
Yeah, taking down somebody unawares like that brings the fight into favor. Easy 6v5, and of course they got the torp turrets. That makes it a v5, of course. Now we're seeing Vanguard kind of going around on a long flank here, trying to get around this choke because it is one of the worst choke points, particularly on this map. And are they coming in here with 5 ultimates, in fact, that they can use in this next fight? Looking very good here, but they need to be aware because Odyssey also have a ton of ults to use.
That is 100% to Shanson here on 80% towards the Graviton Surge, but they're losing people already. Taking down somebody, I didn't quite see who that was. The Molten Core goes down, maybe they'll find a kill with that. Need to be careful. Nice blocked shatter, good shatter from Stalker. Gonna secure his team a lot of space here on King's Road. There's a turret on the ground here. I don't think anyone's gonna get it. Sanction, he gets his ulti up and now backed up by the sound barrier from Shadows. Looks like Odyssey gonna hold firm for a little bit here, unless Vanguard want to keep getting aggressive. There's a Reaper in the background. Okay, no, there he goes. Lots of ultis here for Odyssey now, but strange team fight still going on.
Yeah.
Long and drawn out. Neither team managing to take advantage here. This turret being a nuisance, taken down by Phoenix. Here comes the opposite grab now. There is a grab on the other side as well, but not choosing to commit it. Sanction gonna hold on to his now, and it's gonna spell doom for Odyssey on this point. It's a perfectly executed Space Jan combo. Gonna secure Vanguard. Second point, it looks like.
Really weird fight and super extended as well, but Vanguard do manage to come out on top here with some really sparing usage of their ultimates, making sure that they're just doing target focusing, not using ultimates unnecessarily. And coming into this next fight, still have 3 ults to use.
Ooh, Shattered doesn't find anything. Meanwhile, other way finds much more. Pritz gets the better of that engagement, but a nice sound barrier from Phoenix gonna keep her team healthier. Stalker finds return on Pritz. He got a worse shatter, but a better outcome thanks in no small part to Phoenix's sound barrier. And Vanguard gonna be pushing through here. 2 minutes 30 on the clock here as they take second point on King's Row.
Nice dominant display here in the streets phase. Vanguard looking very strong, but they did have to use a couple of ults in that last fight. James, however, is absolutely popping off. He's going to have another Meteor Strike very shortly. And, of course, we do have the Death Blossom available for Pyro and another Graviton Surge very soon for Von. Odyssey still have their own Grav and the Molten Core. If they can get a nice combo off with that, Phoenix doesn't have the sound barrier. That could be exactly what they need to win this fight, and they need to stall.
Well, the grab goes in here from Sanction. Like you said, this is JRV in the mix, just bringing the damage. He commits the Death Blossom now, but finds nothing. No, sorry, that was Pyro's Death Blossom. He finds even less than nothing as he gives away his own life. Sanction picks up that kill, and it looks like they're just going to run away. Assassin needs to get a pick here. Can they find anything from Odyssey? No, I think they're just going to send them home. So good defense there from Odyssey.
Molten Core, a little bit unfortunate, did seem to overshoot a bit. Part of the Molten Core fell too short, and part of it just yeeted to the other side of the map. None of it really fell underneath the Graviton Surge, but they still managed to win that fight, which is exactly what they needed to do. Coming into this next fight, however, they're going to have 3 ultimates, 2 of which are the support ults, which are massive, and Pretz has another Earth Shatter. Vanguard, however, got 4 ultimates of their own, and they've got that Graviton Surge. If they can combo that with the Meteor Strike, it could be massive.
Speaking of which, here it comes, Graviton Surge. Meteor Strike goes in as well, but this time the sound barrier from Shadow is going to be his team because Jeremy finds a pick. There's the Shadow you spoke about from Pretz. He finds a couple, and it looks like weathering the storm here is Odyssey. That's a really big deal. That's the combo they were looking to push through this very difficult choke with, and Odyssey do a good job.
Yeah, they completely denied the ult combos there. Now we're going to be seeing James swapping over onto the Hanzo here. Quite a bit of extra spam damage as well. And we're going to see Possum swapping over onto the Ana. And of course, got some potential here for the Beyblade. We might see that comboed with the Graviton Surge if there's enough time. Of course, we're down to just under 2 minutes to go. And all Vanguard have to work with here is that sound barrier. Odyssey, on the other hand, got a Death Blossom of their own. Going to be looking to use that to try and keep holding this defense. They've got that spawn advantage.
TP in the backline here. They haven't spotted him. Yes, they have. The bubble goes through. He finds everybody. Anti-nade from Fluffy making a huge difference there, I think. And JRV going to clean up with a triple Blossom. Beautiful play from Odyssey there.
Nice quick fight win, and of course denying a lot of ult charge to both James and Possum as the clock continues to tick down. I mean, all that did was stall time, and that's exactly what they needed to do. Payload moving even further back, and with the spawn advantage on their side, they've really got a great opportunity here to hold strong. Assassin is going to have a Molten Core very shortly, and of course that does some fantastic space denial. Vanguard coming in with the sound barrier here. Can they get something done?
Can they get something done indeed here on the back foot now? Our Vanguard momentum firmly favoring the Odyssey, the Rage Quit squad here. Sanction moving a bit low. They do have the Molten Core, as we see here from Assassin JDP. Neither team able to get anything done. The Coalescence pushing Vanguard back a little bit here. Nice patient play from both teams. Neither getting any advantage or giving any advantage away either. Now getting aggressive, but here comes the Sanction. But Phoenix gonna reply immediately, but the multi-core is gonna burn through the sound barrier so quickly. Press finds Phoenix with the shatter. He finds Stalker with the hammer, and it looks like Vanguard gonna have to scramble to try and get back in here, but I don't think they've got enough time now.
Yep, that was a much better Molten Core, landed right beneath the Graviton Surge. Managed to get 2 or 3 kills out of that, and as Vanguard prepare to mount yet another attack, they've only got a couple of seconds left. Somebody needs to touch. Ooh, big shatter. Hello? Did we lose the SunPheonyx? Is it the Naori time?
No, it's me. I muted myself. Don't panic.
No!
Graviton Surge comes in here, but the counter, the ulti is going which way? Finally, James picks up 2, but it's too little, too late. As Odyssey hold firm here on third point Kings Road. The corner once again stymieing the attackers after a great start from Vanguard.
Son, how could you do this?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
You're the chosen one.
The thing is, I mute myself between every fight, and this was the first time I forgot to unmute myself, so...
Wow, that's really special.
Yeah.
That's well, that fight could have been more hype, but your friendly neighborhood SunPheonyx borked it. So
At SunPheonyx, it's gonna give me a follow and flame me.
give me a follow
Give me a
and
follow
flame
and flame me.
me.
You can't flame unless you follow. That's the rules.
Well, there you have it, folks. A nice little hold there on third point. And we're going to swap sides now. Give Odyssey the chance to respond, see if they can push a little bit further. That was a very dominant display from Vanguard, but as soon as they lost any sort of a spawn advantage, they really, really struggled to get a foothold, despite some really powerful and impactful ultimates. We even saw the Dragon Strike come out in that last fight, managing to get a 2k, but they just weren't able to take advantage of the picks that they were getting, and Odyssey had a very, very strong defense there.
Mm-hmm.
So now as we kind of swap sides, we're going to be seeing the same composition here from Vanguard. What?
I was gonna say they were sitting on the Torbjorn for Assassin, but I figured it wasn't as good on attack.
Yeah, no, it doesn't get quite the same value. It could if you place it in like some really sneaky spots, but oh wait, there we go. See, he's back. He was just using the Widow to scout out. Yeah, dude, we're gonna make this one work.
This team, like I said, has got some flack for running the same stuff over and over. Maybe they're still doing that, but now it's a really weird random comp. James getting aggressive here into the backline on that Doomfist. Doesn't find anything, but eyes on Assassin on this Torbjorn. What sort of value does he find? Turret taken down of putting in pittance of damage, it has to be said. Ooh, main tank needs to be careful here. Stalker backing up, getting healed up. Nice counter charge from Pretz. Prevents James from going straight through, but it's Pyro. Finds a pick onto JRV here. Pretz dropping low, very low, but being healed up by his team. But eventually, it's Sanction who falls, able to keep his main tank alive, but not able to keep himself alive. And now, finally, Pretz getting taken down. Good aggressive play from Vanguard here as they hold on first point Kings Row.
Very strong defense, yeah. It's very much akin to their attack on the previous round as well. And they've managed to build up a Coalescence and almost the Earth Shatter as well. Fluffy also on that Coalescence. Got both Moiras running that same ultimate at the moment, ready to go. Assassin, however, 62% to a Molten Core.
Let's see if you can build it up now. Coalescence both coming out, like you said. The main tank's alive, crossing the string.
Ooh.
Big Shadow finds so many. Stalker finds Pretz on the front line, and after that, it's just a matter of cleanup. The main tank's here having a difficult time this game.
Watching Assassin try to run away was so funny. Oh, unlucky, buddy. And looked like they might have...
The leggies, it's difficult.
It's just not gonna work, man. He's a gnome. But he's a gnome with a molten core, and he's ready to drop that loose. But Pyro chilling in the back line here, waiting to get a sneaky pick off, which could be exactly what they need to kind of cement in this hold.
But not so sneaky is Assassin on the front line with their molten core, not able to find anything yet. People dropping low. Pyro specifically in the back line, and now the grab comes through. Finds one, finds two, finds three as they run in there, and it's the Space Jam from downtown. I don't even know what I was going to say there, but they find so many kills. Really nice work from Vanguard. Really disciplined ult economy as well.
Fantastic work there. I mean, the molten core came through to deny so much space, and it was so easy for them to just kind of dance around it. But James going down so early, and the whole of Odyssey being up and alive and ready to go with 5 ultimates to use as they push in here. This could be it, son.
This is bad. JRB immediately finds the pick onto Phoenix. She was nowhere near ulti, so it's not that big of a deal. But still, you're losing people here. They commit to Coalescence on the side of Vanguard, but Odyssey in firm control here, and you see the effect. Okay, no, Vanguard coming back in, not gonna let them take this one so easily as James respawns, and now the ult goes through. Pyro taken down. That Death Blossom not able to find anything. Frets his shield, putting in the work here to keep his team alive, and he finds immediate return kill, and now the Graviton from Sanching gonna clean up here. James is still alive in the background. He punches the vertically challenged Swedish engineer, but he doesn't get any kills off the back of that.
The vertically challenged Swedish engineer.
That's what he is.
And I saw Pretz having so much fun there. Massive Graviton surge came through from Sanchin. Shield went down, hammers out. That is Reinhardt's playground.
Yeah.
Managing to just kind of decimate the last little remnants there of Vanguard. And finally, with less than a minute to go, I believe, managed to cap that point and get that payload moving. Now they are holding a little bit more safely here than I would have liked to have seen, but the payload is still firmly in motion, and they do have a couple of ultimates to work with here on this next offense.
Oh, speaking of ultimates, multi-core now coming through. Vanguard gonna back up here. Nice work from them, very disciplined play. Like I said, not gonna find anything with that molten core, but a lot of space actually, a lot of card movement. Now James going aggressive with that punch. Doesn't find anything. We're looking at Pyro here on the Reaper. Big shadow comes through. It's everybody, but they're all grabbed. They can't follow up. Really interesting play from the two opposing tanks there, and nothing either team going down, but Assassin finds James again, dropping early for his team here. He needs to be careful of this hyper-aggression. It works sometimes, but not always, and that opens the doorway for Odyssey to start cleaning up here and work their way towards a clean second ball take.
Now, usually you see a grabbed team will throw out the Earth Shatter to negate damage. I like seeing how a shattered team, the Zarya managing to not get shattered, will throw out the grab to protect the rest of their team, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough. And Odyssey continuing to roll through here. 3.5 minutes to push payload halfway to third point. Now they got 2 ultimates to work with here. They're gonna have the Death Blossom and that Sound Barrier, but Vanguard have a Sound Barrier of their own and an Earth Shadow. We see Pyro swapping over onto that Ashe once again for some nice damage and paying dividends already.
Yeah, as you mentioned it, she finds that pick. The Shadow goes in onto Torbjorn, Assassin on his back, but he's not even taken down, but they are going to back out here. So fight held here for Vanguard at this very difficult to push through corner.
Absolutely, with this fantastic spawn advantage for Vanguard, I think it's going to be difficult here for Odyssey to push through. That being said, coming into this next fight with all of those ultimates and more, they're going to have the Graviton Surge and the Coalescence, and this could be exactly what they need. They don't have to push that payload too far, and Vanguard don't have too much to work with here. All they have are the 2 support ultimates. Is it going to be enough? We're going to be seeing Odyssey playing it slow and steady, making sure that they have absolutely everything that they need. They can't afford to mess this up if they're going all in.
Yeah, you have to execute perfectly here if you're Vanguard. It's a target chucked into the window, taken down immediately, but now aggressive, so aggressive. It's a bait, it was a distraction, but the Phoenix, the Sound Barrier, keeping a team alive. There's a charge going all the way downtown, but the molten core picking up a couple. Remember, Odyssey firmly in control here, because they don't have to push very far, and they've got so many chances to do it. Vanguard can't afford to win one fight. The Bob comes in here from Ashe, and it's pushing through. Nobody on cart, and it looks like Odyssey gonna equalize things here on King's Row.
Super unfortunate there for Vanguard. They were looking so good on their attack. But when the defense rolled around, Odyssey just had that little bit of a stronger push. And I must say, it took Odyssey a very long time to get onto that first point, and it was looking super touch and go for them for quite a long time. But once they finally did manage to get onto that point, they got that payload moving. They had some really good aggression, but it was controlled aggression. I enjoyed seeing how they don't kind of just throw in their ultimates all willy-nilly. They really do seem to have a plan, and they execute that plan usually quite well, and it will bring the scoreline up to a 1-all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
these teams seem to be quite evenly balanced so far, but on the basis of what we've seen so far, who do you think is coming out on top in this match so far?
It's difficult to say, I must be honest. I feel like it is fairly evenly matched between these two teams for the moment.
Okay, let me phrase it slightly differently. What do you think each team needs to do to get the advantage in this matchup?
I think that both of these teams are playing their compositions pretty well. And I think that it's just coming down to kind of simple mechanical things. Just making sure, and not just mechanical, but also making sure that you're communicating. Making sure that you call out those targets, focus those people down as you see them, as they need to go down. You know, people like James, you see him in your backline as Doomfist, you got to get him down quickly, right? You see Pretz is coming towards you with a hammer, and you're like, okay, Ryan is overextending, we need to get him down. Ryan is down, it's like, okay, cool, we can press W. It's those small kind of call outs, just being aware of if your team has the advantage, the numbers advantage, being aware of if your team has that ultimate advantage, and abusing that knowledge and abusing the small mistakes that the enemy team makes. And this is something that both teams can do to really inch ahead, because as I say, I think that they are fairly evenly matched for the moment, but I might give it to Odyssey for now. I think that they are kind of shining just that little bit brighter for the moment.
Okay. So something we've seen as well is, you mentioned it now, James on that Doomfist being kind of a linchpin for this Vanguard team to operate around. Obviously, Von on the Zarya, giving him that bubble every time he goes in, and if he's able to get work done, they tend to win the team fights, but if he doesn't, they tend to struggle. So seems like that's quite a significant pivot point around which this match is kind of oscillating. Just a reminder, guys, because of the hero pool, there's no Mei in the pool, no McCree in the pool, no Brigitte in the pool. So this Doomfist all of a sudden looks great with 3 of his potential counters not in the game.
Yeah, I think something else to bear in mind is, a lot of teams will have kind of a, as you put it, kind of a pivotal player, and they'll put a lot of resources into that person. We saw it with can't remember the team name, with Z-Lord.
Ironic Overdogs.
Yeah, Ironic Overdogs. We saw it with them as well. A lot of their Z-Lord, and they allow him to kind of just pop off. And we're seeing the same thing here with James and his Doomfist. And if they give him the space to get into the backline and just kind of make a mess of the supports, then they use that to take advantage and push forward. And it's not necessarily the best way to handle a team fight or a team game or whatever, because of course it is kind of focused on how you're performing as a team. But I think that it can work if the enemy team isn't really expecting it, or they're not knowing how to handle it, or if your player is just absolutely popping off.
Yeah.
And that's kind of what we're seeing from James.
Yes. So moving to the next map will be Volskaya Industries, a map we haven't seen yet broadcast in South Africa. So it will be a new look for, this year, I mean. It will be a new look for both of these teams. Pretty good map for Torbjorn, it has to be said. So you have to be feeling pretty good if you're an Odyssey player.
Well, we have seen some nice Torbjorn play here from Assassin. I think it's going to be an interesting one. I don't know. I just really like Torbjorn, so I'm looking forward to seeing where they're going to turrets. We might actually see some other compositions out here. Volskaya has been known for a little bit of Farah on point 1. And of course, Symmetra is pretty popular on this map. Again, point 1. We do see that quite a lot. But we might just see that kind of standard Reaper and Doomfist that we have been seeing up until this point, that really brawly composition. Because you can go dive on Volskaya. but the choke point is quite narrow, and you kind of find you have to get through the choke before you can actually initiate your dive, and that's where a lot of teams struggle. So you'll see that a lot of teams will go for that brawl composition because they struggle to get through the choke. So it's just like, well, we're just going to rush through like a cannonball and try and kill everything in our wake. So we'll see what kind of strategy these teams go with. And yep, it's going to be that brawl composition on the defense. Torbjorn, yes, please. You love to see it.
Not unsurprising here. First point for Skya, pretty much built for the Swedish engineer. So how do you think Vanguard's going to be able to deal with this? Do you think they've got it nailed down a bit better now, or do you think they're still struggling to get a handle on this Torbjorn?
I don't necessarily think that the Torbjorn is the problem. I think that the turret is a nuisance, but they have been fairly consistent in taking down that turret as quickly as possible. They have been fairly consistent in making sure that they have sound barrier available for when the multi-core comes out. So that's not really their biggest issue. I think the biggest issue at the moment is just kind of communication and knowing when to hit W and when to kind of just reset, pull back, and wait for your abilities to be ready to go again. I'm happy to see James on this Hanzo because I think a little bit of extra spam damage could be useful. And it's a little bit harder to get that value on the Doomfist when this choke point is so small. But let's see if it does work out for them, or if Odyssey will continue their really strong hold here.
Yeah, so also very good at dealing with a turret is that Hanzo, as we see here, but Von finds going down early, and that's advantage Vanguard now as Pyro gets in the backline and deletes Sanction. The poor Zarya didn't stand a chance up against the Hellfire shotguns. Can they find anything more? Yes, Von finds JRV, Pyro finds Pretz, and Vanguard finds a first point cap here on Volskaya Industries.
Nicely done here. And again, Torbjorn, not the problem. I think that the biggest issue with these assault type maps is that once you lose first point, it's very difficult to turn it around. I mean, you can already see that Odyssey have decided, well, we've lost first point, we're just going to wait at second point. So your compositional choice is so important. And as much as I love the Torbjorn, I kind of prefer him on second point because you want to make sure that your first point defense is going to be super solid, and that was not a solid defense. However, quite a few ultimates online here for both teams, including a Coalescence for Odyssey and a Dragon Strike. Nearly said Blade. Dragon Strike for Vanguard.
Oh, speaking of which, a very nice one. Sanction can cop most of the damage. In fact, taken down. James finds 2 as he takes down the main tank as well. Unfortunately, that's pretty bad for Odyssey here. Phoenix finds JRV, and now they can set up on the point to charge through Stalker. Deletes Assassin JDB. That Torbjorn, no issue for the Reinhardt there. And it looks like Odyssey gonna have to try and make the way back in here as Vanguard firmly controlling things for the moment. Now it's just a trickle. The Shadow comes through, doesn't find anything, but I don't think it's gonna matter here. This Odyssey pulled back a little bit. Assassin on the right side, gonna try and come in. This Phoenix does have the sound barrier as well here, so they're really under no pressure. 5 minutes on the clock here for Vanguard. We spoke about that Torbjorn, and it just didn't work.
Well, I said that I thought maybe Odyssey was gonna kind of having the upper hand here, but Vanguard, wow, they really showed up in this map. Wow. Goodness grief, that was. How do you analyze that, right? They just came in and everyone died. They clicked heads better. It was just it was a little bit of a it was pretty freaking dominant. But now we need to see how they're going to do on their defense. We did see on King's Row they do have a very strong attack, but they tended to kind of crumble a little bit under Odyssey, under the weight of their kind of counter attack. So I'm curious to see how they're going to do here on this defense. And I'm really liking the compositional choice here already for Vanguard, running with that double sniper, not with the Widowmaker, but with the Ash instead. And that is a lot of spam damage if you can land some really big Dynamites, thank you. I nearly said nades. You can land some really big
It's a kind of nade, right?
You know, it does AoE damage. Same but different,
it's an explosive that you throw.
I'm going to be running that Orisa and the Diva, which I also quite like. Got the Orisa for a little bit of stationary, and the Diva to be able to kind of pivot back to point if necessary, or come back to the anchor when necessary. I like this composition.
So Stalker was actually umming and ahhing about what he wanted to run there, the team having a bit of a discussion, I suspect. Ending up deciding on the Orisa. He had sat on the Reinhardt, and you could see how a Winston could work with this composition as well. of course, Wrecking Ball not in the pool. So, yeah, deciding at the end to go with the Orisa, and you can't argue with the results so far. The hold comes through here. Sanction dropping low on the Stevo, but Possum, as we saw, took down Fluffy very early on, and without that Moira, you can't do anything as Odyssey.
They're holding fairly far back. You normally see teams kind of holding up towards the choke, but I think they really want more control of the sight lines because you don't know what the enemy team is going to be doing, if they're going to try and sneak around with some extra teleporter, or what kind of weird shenanigans they're going to get up to. So I do quite like where they are holding for the moment, and it does seem to be working out fairly well for them. Got some nice ult charge on the board here for most of the heroes, particularly Pyro already 60% to that Bob, and of course James nearly got a dragon.
Sanction taken down there, demeched and deleted from the game, the poor Diva. So, unfortunately, again, just one pick spelling the end of their attack here as JRV yeets him side of the edge of the world and reset with his team back in spawn.
Yep. First and foremost, not going to give the enemy team more ult charge, and second, get back to the rest of the team. No, Assassin! Oh my goodness, nearly gets caught out by the Diva. Von doing some fantastic spy checking here to try and make sure that he can find Assassin. Hasn't realized that Assassin's left though. We've got a couple of ultimates online here, and Assassin is very far from an EMP, so it's not too good.
That's a big problem. Here comes the ulti in from James. He finds Shadow straight away with that Dragon Strike, but they lost Possum in the meantime. It's a little bit less healing. Bob, no, we need you! Okay, never mind. Didn't need that one. Just wanted to get rid of it so he could start building a new one. And unfortunately, that could spell doom for Vanguard here. It's a baby Diva versus a couple of heroes, but one on the high ground. He can still, or rather, Pyro on the high ground, on the Ashe. He can still contribute quite a lot here. It's just him versus a Lucio. Shadows versus Pyro. Who's gonna win the duel of the ages here? It's Pyro with the better gun, and the Assassin JDB comes in. The Immortality Field won't keep Vanguard alive here, and you've got to look at that Bob and say, what are you doing?
Dude, that was really sad. That could have actually turned it off. And it looks like they are actually gonna give up this first point here.
No, looks like they're coming in. Possum coming in on the left-hand side. He got hacked though. He couldn't float on the Immortality Field, but he buys time for the Hanzo and the Mercy to come in. Von as well now. They're committing a lot here. You need to be careful not to commit any ultis immediately. They stop with a good hack, prevent the resurrection here. But Stalker's back as James finds Assassin. He was on that ulti. He get to use it. Maybe that's for the best, but Odyssey gonna be getting the better of this engagement, finding all the kills here. A questionable engagement, especially since Pyro's still alive. But with how the respawns work in Assault now, shouldn't be too bad for Vanguard.
Still a fairly good defense because they did burn quite a lot of time off the clock, and already, and no matter what happens here, Vanguard are going to have time on their offense. They're going to start things out with that Dragon Strike, but still got a ton of other ultimates to work with.
Nice combo there. Halt with the Dragon Strike. James finds Shadows immediately. Ulti as well, if he'd chosen to commit it, so that's a pretty good initiation kill. And now it's just a matter of cleanup here as Vanguard find two off the backline here. They're getting aggressive onto the tanks. They want to get them. James punches Prince in the face through his shield. Vanguard gonna hold here on second point. King Volskaya.
King Volskaya.
Yeah,
Hail King Volskaya.
Yeah, it's like it's not like we haven't casted Kings 1,000 times.
Alright, well, you'd think by now you would recognize
Right?
it.
I just assume every map is King's Road. There's a decent chance they'll get it right.
Well, Odyssey coming in here with 6 ultimates, not using any on that first point attack. And they're going to start things out with that Coalescence.
Oh, and there's the EMP combo with the bomb. How many do they find here? It's just Sanction. No, it's just Mortality Field. And he did find the mech as well from Bond. So many kills. Fluffy with the Coalescence, getting picks left, right, and center. They commit the sound barrier as well, and Odyssey firmly in control. 2 minutes 40 on the clock, you'd have to think, and Phoenix does get in for a touch. I'm sure we'll see Mori get in for a touch here as well. James committing his ulti. Does he find anything? Not very likely. Prince off the map. Name Prince, Prince and off the map. Name a more iconic duo, and it could end up costing you. The bomb coming through.
No ways.
Oh no, Prince. Oh no, friend. We all saw it happen as well.
And it was so close. It was mere millimeters to a third tick. Okay, Odyssey, if y'all don't hate Prince right now, I will be surprised. I will be very surprised.
Prince is a double-edged sword, Sometimes big shadows, sometimes it's charging off the map.
I thought you were gonna say a double agent, and I was gonna be like, yeah, clearly. Oh no, and they used like every single but they are gonna have another Coalescence and a Death Blossom. They can still possibly turn this around because there are no ults available for Vanguard.
None whatsoever just yet. Jeremy with that Death Blossom, as you said, might live to get in the backline here. Here he is. He pops a Death Blossom, but a nice turnaround. D.Va and a good immortality field won't keep his team alive though. Unfortunately, Vanguard losing a lot of players and the coalescence from Fluffy gonna help them clean up here. It's just one left on the point. D.Va demixed, taken down. There's a Reaper in the mix here, a little bit Pyro. He's not gonna be able to touch though. And Odyssey managed to take it, but you've got to feel like they cost themselves a good 30 seconds there.
That comparatively, that is an awful time Vank to have.
Yeah.
Wow. Not looking good here for Odyssey. Vanguard looking a lot stronger here. So we're going to be starting out with, I believe it's going to be Odyssey's attack. So they got about a minute and a half to get as much progress as humanly possible, because they need to make sure that they have some wiggle room for their own defense, because they have to hold for 5 minutes. And if they have to hold one tick for 5 minutes, I mean, we saw how well their first defense went.
Yeah.
So they need to get as much progress as they can. They need to try. I mean, they're going to be aiming for at least first point, right? Yeah. And I don't think that it's going to be easy for them. We're going to just have a look at this defense here. We're coming out with the Pharah boys, not even playing around with Hanzo anymore.
No hit scan on the side of Odyssey at the moment as well, so this could end up being a really inspired pick, but Odyssey are on the attack, so they do have some wiggle room to reject their composition if need be, so shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah. Do have the opportunity, thankfully. Well, let's see if we are actually going to see Odyssey stick on this composition. I like the Sombra, but I feel like Assassin is not getting the value that he should be getting. I wanted to ask you about how you feel
about that Sombra, actually, because I feel like it's been mixed at best.
That's the thing, like the Sombra pick is good, but Assassin's not getting the value. I just saw him translocate back into spawn from spawn. It's not working out, man. And EMP is something that's one of your win conditions with this type of composition. You want to get a big EMP to follow up on.
Exactly. We're looking here at James on this Pharah. Going to be putting in a ton of damage over the top. Immediately finds 2 picks, and that's fight over.
Oh, wow.
Have to switch things up and find a solution to the problem that is James's Pharah. Because if they don't, he's just going to do this every single team fight.
Yep, that Pharah Mercy combination rather is so dangerous. The last week of comp has proven that to us time and time and time and time again. So if they're not going to be dealing with that, then they are going to be in for a bit of a rough time. But Assassin still on that Sombra, and Von spy checking. Just manages to miss him, but always has kind of a good idea of where he is. Yeah. So Von doing a lot of work on this D.Va, actually.
Exactly, but it's still James. You got to be looking at this guy and thinking, how do you deal with him if you're on the side of Odyssey? But Assassin finds a nice pick on the backline, but Stalker gets returned, and it's James getting in there with the rocket barrage. He finds 2, or rather 1 in the D.Va mech. The coalescence from Fluffy once again could be a difference maker as Jeremy finds Stalker on the front line here. The coalescence finds the Pharah. What is going on? Fluffy putting his team on his back here as he says, don't worry about the Pharah boys, I'll handle that, as Odyssey take first point here. They're gonna have 30 seconds to try and get second.
That's actually really impressive for Odyssey to have been able to turn that fight around. It was really looking dubious for them for the moment, particularly once that rocket barrage came out. We had a demech D.Va, and we know how important D.Va can be, and yet they still managed to turn that around and take control. Now, as you said, they got about 20 seconds left here to try to take second point. They are going to have that EMP and the Death Blossom. If they can get a nice little combo off, then it's exactly what they need, but they need to be aware because there's still the immortality field and the damage matrix.
Going in, finds a couple here, finds 5 on the side of Vanguard. They're in trouble here. Jeremy manages only to find 1. They do trade out a D.Va mech for that. This farm not going to find much. Actually finds Shadows. Needs to be careful not to get killed before he can remake, but he isn't. Jeremy on that Reaper. Going to try and pull this one back for his team, but it's Fluffy getting the kills on the opposite support. Phoenix's Mercy taken down. Sanction as well dropping down as Jeremy on the Reaper. Finally putting in the damage. Fluffy has a coalescence. We've seen what he can do with it, and here it comes out. Stalker dropping low on the Rhino. He is hacked up, but he's being kept alive by the Baptiste, but no, taken down eventually, and Fluffy kills Possum as well for all the effort he put in. There's a pharmacy in the sky though. James puts in the damage with the rocket barrage, finds 1, finds 2. Can they find any more? Still a lot of Vanguard bodies on the point here on defense, and it looks like they're gonna hold firm. No ticks taken for Odyssey here unless this is the biggest ulti we've ever seen. He finds James, but I don't think it's gonna be enough to help Odyssey cap second point here. JRB on his way in, taken down before he even gets the touch. Baby D.Va deleted from the map, and a good defense there from Vanguard, holds them on third point.
Damn, some spicy barrage action there from James. I feel like that Pharah. Where was that Pharah the last two maps? I mean, yeah, okay, he was doing some on that Doomfist, but this Pharah has been damn near oppressive, particularly for Odyssey.
It helps not having McCree in the pool as well, because that would generally be your go-to, because he fits really well with the rest of the composition. But there are still, like, 3 other hit scan in the game, if you want to run.
Yeah. Like, they do exist. They are a thing. I mean, yeah, okay, sure, they had the coalescence, and that does things sometimes, but you're waiting a pretty long time for that coalescence to be ready to go, so not ideal. Now, as we swap sides, Assassin looking to show his own mettle on that Pharah. I'm pretty curious to see how that's going to go. Now, we do seem to have James on that Hanzo once again, and I think that could be very dangerous. It's not exactly a hit scan. There is still some projectile there with that Hanzo. So it might be a little bit harder to get that Pharah out of the sky. But if all you're doing is being a nuisance and distracting the Pharah and making sure that she's not able to get value, then you're doing a pretty good job. So we'll see if James is able to do that for his team. Or maybe, I mean, they got 5 minutes. Maybe he just goes back to spawn, swaps to Pharah, and takes the sky battle. Who knows?
That's the thing. They're on attack here. This is a defensive Pharah, so not as much flexibility to switch things up. For the side of Odyssey, if it's not working in their favor. They lose this point, it's draw at best. So they're going to try and full hold here for 5 minutes, which is going to be a real tough ask for the Rage Quit squad here. Vanguard pushing their way through here, not able to find any damage. Assassin pumping in the damage from the sky, and we see James on the flank here, trying to put the damage through onto Fluffy. He is on that Ana, who's very well known for, but not able to find anything just yet. Vanguard gonna reposition just a little bit here. Nice, disciplined, intelligent play from them, deciding they didn't quite like that angle. Shield dropping low here for both main tanks, and now someone's in the backline there, Pyro on the Reaper, forcing everybody to turn and take notice of him there as he threatens the main support, or the flex support rather, of them. They go against the threats, finds a kill onto James. That makes Barrow's life so much easier. There's no Diva as well, remember, so really nothing to deal with Assassin JDB in the sky here, and you see the effect of that is he pumps the damage down. He's nano boosted as well, maybe a little bit of overkill, but he gets a deletion direct hit onto Bond, and they're gonna hold firm here with 3.5 minutes left on the clock.
I mean, Pretz had gone down. Main tank down is danger situation. So I think Fluffy dropping that nano onto Assassin just to make sure they get those last few cleanup kills and maintain point. Yeah, I'm okay with that. And Assassin holding on to that rocket barrage as well. And as we come into this next fight, they're gonna have Barrage, Blossom, Self-Destruct, and Earth Shatter.
James finds an early pick, but it's Assassin in the back. He finds 2, but fight is only even now. Given that good pick they found onto the Diva, Shadow right in your face. You gotta do something about that. Can't let him do whatever he wants. Phoenix brings Bond back to life here, so they do have the Graviton Surge if they choose to use it here. Neither team finding an advantage just yet. Pyro though, he takes down Assassin JDB, and we know there's no resurrection because they baited that one out. Let's just call it planned. But let's call it a big shadow from Prince. Gets the big shadow. He doesn't find anything though. He finds Stalker. Sanchin, oops, Von off the map. Okay, Von, we needed you, but it's cool, don't worry about it. Prince, only one on point here, Pyro, JRV backing him up, but it looks like Vanguard don't quite have the numbers to push through here. There's still a pharmacy in the sky, but there's nobody on the ground, so they're just going to back up and reset a little bit.
Interesting to see James swaps over onto the Pharah to take the sky battle. Immediate back onto that Sombra to try and hack the Pharah out of the sky. Now that is an interesting pick. And I'm curious to see if it's going to work out the way that they're intending. We're down to 2 minutes left, and Vanguard are coming into this next fight with a whole arsenal of ultimates.
Something you've got to remember as well, Fluffy on the Ana, so he's pretty good at taking out Pharaohs on his own. Mercies especially, Phoenix needs to be careful there. Oh, okay, James finds the kill. Shadows needs to be careful there. He didn't have ult, he was far away from it, but the Graviton comes down. Immediate sleep from Fluffy prevents the grab from getting anything done. Ascension finds a kill onto James. The Shadow goes through, finds nothing from Stalker, and he is taken down. It's JRV on point on the Reaper, cleaning up here. 1.5 minutes left, Naori. Are they really going to do this?
Odyssey seem to really be doing stuff, and I'm really happy because on that first defense they rolled out with the and they kept point, for first point and second point, and that was ultimately their undoing.
Yeah.
We kind of talked a little earlier about, oh, what is Vanguard going to do about the Torbjorn? It's like, well, actually, what is Odyssey going to do about their own Torbjorn? And what they did was stop using it, and that seems to have worked out quite easily for them. Oh, I see a pause request has come through here. There we go. Oh, looks like we might be having some internet issues, and this is the same team that... Oh, okay, he's fine.
Okay, no, he's fine.
Oh, that was a waste of my life.
Compositionally here, complete switch up for Vanguard. They've decided they're going to lean on the dive a little bit to see if they can get anything done. With Stalker's Winston, backed up by Von's Diva. James as well has switched on to the Genji, and I'm sure we'll switch Pyro, switch onto something a little bit more divey once he uses the bob, and hopefully doesn't throw it off the map. So
Again.
see if they can get anything done here. This is the Genji. They're getting on the back line. They've identified Fluffy, I think, as an issue. Now they're trying to get onto the Ana. Fluffy taken down. They push him out for Pyro to get rid of him. Pretz charges off the map, takes Bob with him. I'm pretty sure that's what happened there. Bob wanting to find any purchase on dry land, but it doesn't matter. This time you'd rather have the Pretz alive and have a Bob alive. So Shadows slipped up here, gonna be taken down, and it looks like Vanguard. That pause was all they needed to reset their momentum, and gonna take first point here.
Nice, strong dive here. It took them a while to get through there. And, I kind of spoke about getting through that first choke point and how dive can be kind of difficult for that. But given that Odyssey were holding so far back, like, the choke wasn't really an issue. They just walked through it and then dove and just completely annihilated Odyssey. Now as we move on to second point, one tick will get them the win, and that's all they need. They got 45 seconds, but no ultimates just yet. They do, however, have the time to build them up. Slow and steady is the name of the game.
We're in significant draw territory here now, Ori, and if that does happen, we'll go to Lijiang Tower for a tiebreaker. But Vanguard, they've decided they don't want to draw. They just right here. They find two picks on the front line. Your Shadow, Stalker off the map, and the EMP comes through. It finds four, but the bomb won't get any follow-ups. Pretz with the longest range Shadow you've ever seen attempt. Doesn't find anything, but he does find Phoenix actually, gets the kill with the Shadow. And Vanguard running out of time here, 13 seconds with Pyro going down. You have to think there's not a lot left in the tank here for Vanguard. We might be looking down the barrel of a draw here, but there comes the Dragon Blade. They have a sound barrier, they have a Death Blossom though, and they have the hammer from Pretz as he takes down James before he can get anything really done. And now Vanguard trickling in one by one. You have to think they don't have what it takes to retake this point from Odyssey here, and we're looking at a draw. Oh, we're looking at a draw, our first draw ever broadcasted, basically. And
Wow.
Okay.
Okay, I don't know if ever is the correct
Ever.
word,
No,
but,
never. No team has ever seen in the history of
draws
Overwatch.
have never existed ever before
don't
today.
Play of the game.
Wow, that was damn, that was pretty dominant of a hold from Odyssey. I mean, when you kind of look back to their very first hold and how they got completely steamrolled, I'm gonna say it. They got absolutely annihilated. And then we move on to kind of the second round, and suddenly they dig their heels in, they kind of get their momentum, they get their groove going, and they bring us to a draw. So I believe you said it's gonna be Lijiang tiebreaker?
Yes, Lijiang is the tiebreaker map. So Vanguard looking into control. We saw Vanguard take a pretty strong victory on Busan, but they struggled to get their momentum going right at the start. It was 99-100 the first map, but then they dominated the second half of Busan. So after seeing a few more maps here, do you think Vanguard still holds the advantage going into control?
I don't know, hey? You know what? They did very, very well on that first control map on Busan. And even on the assault map, they did relatively well. And I think it kind of depends on the type of map. You know, we saw kind of the dive matchup where Odyssey seemed to have a little bit of the upper hand. Vanguard seems to have a little bit of the upper hand on the brawl type composition. So I think it's going to depend on what we're going to see these two teams running, and that'll depend on what Lijiang Tower map we're going to see. Is it a best of one or a best of three?
It's a best of one. So
best of one. So it's going to depend heavily on which Lijiang map we're going to be seeing.
Now
And
arriving at Lijiang Tower.
let's have a look here. Oh, this is brawl
Control
center,
center,
boys.
yeah.
This
Yep.
is
So who
where
do you think
brawl
this favors?
happens.
Initiating
this map.
I'm gonna say that I think this favors Vanguard, but I can see Odyssey making me eat my word. I don't know, these guys are so evenly matched. It's really difficult to call it, but I'm gonna give it to Vanguard for this one.
All right, I'm interested to see how that plays out. I think, like you say, either team could have an advantage here. We've seen both teams look pretty strong on the ball and take different maps at different points, but this is a close-range brawling map, like you said. You won't probably be seeing any of the long-range hit scan. You won't see Pyro's Ash, for example, anything like that. But we do see the Torbjorn and we do see James's Doomfist here. So given those picks, does that change your ideals of who will win this map?
Honestly, given those picks, I think it reaffirms my idea of who's
Yeah,
gonna win.
not for good reasons, right? Because you've seen them both do pretty bad things on those heroes. So.
Absolutely, but I think that I kind of mentioned it earlier. God do seem to have a good idea of how to deal with that Torbjorn, how to deal with that turret, how to get it out of the way. And James and Von have such great teamwork with him getting into the backline and really getting a ton of work done.
Yeah, I really like Doomfist on this point, though. I think he's got so much room, or sort of a lack of room. The heroes have funneled in, finds a turret. That's probably not what he's looking for. He gets taken down immediately. Not what you want to see. He needs to be communicating a little bit better with his Zarya. There's a JRB in the backline here, pumping in the damage. He'll be forced to Wraith form out for now, but he finds Stalker, and it looks like Odyssey firmly in control here of the first point here on Control Center. Pyro, all they've managed to kill for Vanguard are a bunch of turrets, and Odyssey are going to be totally fine with that.
And Fluffy already at a coalescence, doing some serious work here on this Moira, whereas Possum only at about 75%. So not what you want to see. You kind of want your Moiras to be going even in that ult economy here. So now we're going to be seeing them holding close here. They do have the ult to do it, and they're going to start that off with coalescence.
Yeah, like you said, the coalescence coming through. Stalker immediately going to be taken down, crossing the streams here. Coalescence going in that other direction, courtesy of Possum's Moira. But a little bit of a late committal you have to think there, and Vanguard gonna have to be very careful how they push through here with the way the ult economy works.
Pyro chilling in the back line, waiting for an opening, waiting for that opportunity. He's only about 50% to a Blossom.
Oh no,
Oh,
Prince!
that
With the biggest
shatter.
shatter you've ever seen, and the follow-up is
Oh.
there. Everybody dead on the side of Vanguard. One ultimate to win it all. Perfect control there from Odyssey.
Really well done. They had exactly what they needed to hold close there. They just needed that Earth Shatter. Massive comes through, gets absolutely everyone. Pyro rates back to his team. He's like, you know what? They're all dying. I'm gonna die with them. It's fine. But we've seen now that Stalker has an Earth Shatter of his own and quite a few other ultimates on the
Problem is the
ready.
Graviton Surge, here it comes, the combo with the death, or with the Molten Core, and it's all over for Vanguard there. This is perfect ult economy here from Odyssey.
They are doing so well here. I think maybe that very first map, Busan, was just like kind of like a warm-up for them, and they were just like, all right, now this is where we actually start to perform, and they've still got three ultimates, in fact, available for them in this next fight. Now we're going to see Vanguard going for a slightly longer rotation here, trying to get the point, trying to disrupt Odyssey.
JRB, though, he finds so many. I think he just ends the fight before it even gets a chance to start. Vanguard are going to lose the game here with both DPS ults still in the bag, a Possum with the nano boost still in the bag, and Odyssey gonna by proxy end up taking Volskaya Industries.
Yeah, and that's going to bring the scoreline up to a 2-1. That makes this match point for Odyssey. If Vanguard want to stay in it, they absolutely have to win this map.
100%, and it was started so well for Vanguard, and they're so good, but that map, they looked completely battered. But that's the kind of map where that happens. If you don't have a good way to get through that first point, or rather through that choke right there, you can see how they just used two ult combos, and that basically won them the whole point.
That's it. That's slow and steady. The discipline to cycle the ultimates, make sure that everybody's building up the ults as necessary, using them in combination to make sure that you're not wasting your ultimates. It was pristine play from Odyssey, exactly what we wanted to see. And now we're going to be moving over onto map 4, and it's going to be Rialto.
So quite a strong Pharah map here. The Torbjorn also can see quite a lot of play on the first point, but I imagine we're going to be seeing Assassin and James running that Pharah coming out of the door on the first point especially. So should be another close map, I think.
Yeah, most likely. And this is also a fantastic sniper map as well. So we could be seeing that Hanzo with either the Ashe or the Widowmaker. Either one is very good, particularly if we do see the Pharahs coming through. We might be seeing some Widowmaker action to try and deal with that Pharah, or again, just possibly a full-on Sky battle, which I love the sky battle.
Yeah.
I much prefer that to a sniper v bird battle. So we'll see what these two teams are going to bring out for us. Who knows? Maybe we'll see the age-old pirate ship. Who knows?
Yeah, that's true. It's not very popular on this map because of how the first point kind of, the high ground is like right on top of where the point comes through. So you can, if you're smart, you can really play around the bastion on the point quite well as a defensive team. But still, it's a hybrid map, or rather, it's an escort map. So always a possibility on these kinds of maps.
Yeah. Oh, and teams are swapping. So just in case you can't read the overlays, Aquatic. We're gonna have Odyssey in the red and Vanguard in the blue. Yeah.
Oh my god. Called out. So,
Absolutely called out.
So yeah, this should be quite interesting. Just to remind you guys, it is 2-1 to Odyssey here. Our first look at Vanguard. Looking pretty strong, but not able to stand up to the might of Odyssey quite. But 2 maps left in the series, very close. Overwatch by ATK, hashtag Overwatch by ATK on Twitter. Get all your friends in here, come and watch. Should be a close one to close it out.
Yeah, pretty excited. As you said, week 1 and day of week 1 of the 6-week. What did y'all call it?
Calibration.
Calibration. All right. The rest of us call it seeding. Y'all call it calibration. Y'all fancy as hell.
Yeah.
All right. Get yourselves calibrated. Calibrate yourself.
Exactly.
All right. We'll just give you these teams a second, waiting for the assemble your heroes to count down so we can actually see what we might have assembled for us. Starting off looking at this defense. Oh,
Cool,
there's
actually.
that double sniper. Yeah, boy, with the mercy. That's exactly what you need with double sniper. The ability to flit across the map, get to the different snipers, and of course your front line, try and help keep them alive as well when necessary. And of course that damage boost, damage boosting a Widowmaker, it basically makes a body shot on a squishy a one shot. It is so powerful. So really good to run that Mercy with that double sniper composition here. And of course they got the Orisa for some potential halts into the river. You'll love to see it. And going to be running the Sigma. And it's the first time that we're seeing the Sigma this evening. So very excited to see how they're going to play that, how it's going to work out for them. Over on the attack, it is going to be that Pharah and the Reaper full-on brawl composition from Odyssey. We'll see how that works.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen the rest of Sigma just yet. It's not my favorite composition. I think it has a lot of very easy to exploit weaknesses, and Assassin JDB looking to do just that as he puts the damage in over the top. But he obviously needs to be careful of Pyro. That's really Pyro's job here. Keep that Widow, that Pharah under pressure, prevent it from putting damage down onto his team. So Vanguard here, Stalker taking a nap. This could be a problem. Okay, no, he's fine. Don't worry. And
we're good. We're awake.
The Sigma gonna keep the shield up and make sure his team isn't under too much pressure while the Orisa takes a nap. But this card is getting free motion here. You've got to feel like Vanguard need to be doing something here, stopping the guard. Okay, Stalker finally puts his body on the line there, puts his shield up in front of him, keeps himself healthy. But the shields are dropping so quickly here as Pyro finally gets the first pick, and it's almost all the way through, and this teamfight hasn't even occurred yet. Phoenix gonna be back up to full fighting flavor here. James with the ulti going through. A JDB gets a double on the return, but there's way more kills for Vanguard here. The Riz gets through onto JRV, and now they can brawl the Reaper on point. No tanks left for Vanguard, and that means Assassin, he can just wander through, picking off people left and right, and securing the point for Odyssey.
For anybody that can't see us because of caster cams and the game playing, if you just imagine a big question mark, that's me right now. Just because I have no idea what just happened. It felt like Odyssey were just, or rather Vanguard were just running it back and not taking the fight at all. They were just giving free push, and they're doing the same thing now. Okay, a lot of teams will hold further back at this corner so you've got a little bit more cover. So that does at least make sense. But that first point, they just gave so much free push, so much free momentum. And now, like, with 4.5 minutes to push the second, you're more than halfway there already, and you get the opening frag. I mean, this is looking really bad.
Both DPS here hitting the deck. The Riz stopped by Sanchin. Really nice play. He goes the first pick, prevents the Riz as well, and now Odyssey gonna barrel on forward here. They've got the brawl. This is how they want to play. Pretz committing an interesting shadow there. I don't think it was necessary. Pyro gets the only return kill there onto JRV, but Odyssey steamrolling Vanguard here on Rialto.
Gee, this is looking like, I mean, Odyssey looking the strongest that we've seen them. Even Kings, they were. this level of dominance. And now they've reached second checkpoint. They've got 5.5 minutes to complete this map. They've got the Death Blossom ready to go. They're about to have the barrage as well as the self-destruct. But Odyssey, or rather Vanguard, have a ton of ultimates available to them. They have everything that they need to stall out and burn just a little bit of time off this clock, which is what they need.
Yeah, I think a mistake there from JRV. He popped his Wraith form and immediately cancelled it, and then just got run over by the Dragon Strike from James. So good work from the Vanguard DPS, managing to find their pick. Shield dropping low. Pyro finds Assassin. They do have the res here. Can they use it? The shield protects the team from the self-destruct. JRV tries to get things done with the Death Blossom, but finds nothing. Pyro putting in work on the French sniper, but the cart is still moving. They haven't stopped this damn cart. What is going on? Vanguard deciding they'd rather get killed slowly but surely and lose the game slowly but surely, but finally stopping the cart. Stalker finds his opposite number in Pretz. The Hulk gonna bring them all into a position where they can take damage, sleep onto Sanction. Probably not able to punish them, but Vanguard finally, 4 minutes into the game, 4 minutes left on the clock, they're gonna stop Odyssey from pushing through.
Finally, this payload starts moving in the opposite direction. That was not ideal from Vanguard. They really did not have a good showing there. Now, only 2 ultimates in their bank here. Odyssey, on the other hand, coming in with 2 of their own. It's going to be that Slam and, of course, the Rocket Barrage. And, of course, some really powerful ultimates here. But if they continue this momentum, it's not looking good.
Not looking good. James pops his ulti. The Dragon Strike doesn't find anything. The Bongo taken down immediately, followed swiftly by the hero itself. Stalker's Orisa not able to keep themselves alive here as Bond, the only tank left, taking a nap now. You need him to be awake. We need the Shadow comes. Wait, what? Oh, Shadow came through and he immediately got stepped. Nice work from Fluffy there, or rather from Possum on the Ana. And now Pyro making something happen with that Sombra in the backline. Finally, we're seeing some life out of Vanguard here on Rialto as they hold their second push in a row. As Stalker switches onto the Rhine to match Pretz.
Now they've got that spawn advantage, so you know they've got a little bit of a feather in their cap for this one, being able to have at least something that can help propel them forward a little bit, help them kind of solidify their defense a little bit, because up until now they've just been absolutely dominated, absolutely styled on by Odyssey. And coming into this next fight, they're going to have 3 ultimates available to them, but is it going to be enough? Odyssey coming in with 3 ultimates of their own, still sitting on that rocket barrage. This could be it.
This could be it, but this is a hard point to push through, and like I said with spawn advantages, Vanguard sitting pretty here, but Stalker dropping low, pushing back, sleep and hack onto Pretz here. He's not enjoying life, but Pyro goes down straight away. He was close to that EMP. This could be a problem as Possum drops low as well. Von gonna commit his ulti. The Gravitic Flux here, comboed with the Dragons. Do they find anything? They find Pretz. Could that be the pick that Vanguard need to hold firm here on third point? Kills going in both directions. Razors going in both directions. Tanks alive once again, but it's looking pretty good for Vanguard here. JRB dropping low. EMP comes through from Pyro. It doesn't hit the Reaper somehow, but it does hit Pretz. He's dropping low. He's ulting in the back and no, slipped immediately. Possum had his number dialed and he prevents the Death Blossom from getting anything done, and they take down JRB. Pretz trying to run away. It looks like he's going to be successful, but Pyro going to take down Fluffy. The anti-nade from Possum going to do the work as Stalker gets hyper-aggressive with the charge. He deletes Pretz with the help of James, and Vanguard still in control on Rialto with 1.5 minutes left on the clock.
Payload oppressively close to that third point, but I gotta give it to Vanguard. They've done a really good job of chipping off the time here on this third point. Now, you would like to first point, but better late than never, right? Because the Odyssey rolling through here with 3 ultimates available to them. 2 of them, of course, being those tank ultimates, which are super, super powerful and potentially fight winning.
Oh no.
This could be the last
One sleeping. He gets Shadows up with the follow-up. There's a bomb in the back.
Whoa, beautiful.
Find nothing. Shadows gets a kill. It's Vanguard in control here, or rather Odyssey in control. The Stalker charges through and is slept, and I mean, this is looking really bad. A nano boosted Reaper chasing Phoenix down. She's gonna have to heal up and come back back on the point. She does just that. Pyro is here as well. He is close to his ulti. I hear the Gravitic Flux. Doesn't find anything. Nope. It's a big old goose egg there. He finds nothing with that one. But they are coming back with the respawns here. Vanguard coming through. Von taken down. Fluffy takes down Pyro. That EMP. Oh, with the big shadow. He finds two. Can they get JRB down? Yes, they get Pritz. JRB still alive. That Reaper still going to be an issue to deal with. And James is on his trusty Doomfist. And Odyssey decided they can't take this one. They're going to back up and regroup after losing their main tank. Vanguard holding firm here.
I mean, it's kind of impressive that Vanguard have still managed to hold on, because Odyssey by rights should have won that fight, but that spawn advantage can be absolutely oppressive. Now we're down to 15 seconds on the clock. Not looking good here for Odyssey. It's very likely that they don't close out this map.
EMP here sitting for Pyro. That's going to be the win condition, I think. If you're Vanguard, James dropping. That's not good, but it's not a disaster. It's Pyro we're looking at with the EMP. He comes through, he's looking for it. He finds it, he finds everyone. He cancels the Death Blossom. That's all 6, but Assassin deletes him from the game before he can get any damage through on top of that. And it looks like it's still looking good for Odyssey here. The respawn's going to need to be the saving grace of Vanguard, but it's not coming through. James is back on the defense. He has his ulti, the beat. Yes, Von shattered down, charged through. Odyssey do manage to cap in overtime.
Finally managing to close that one. I actually really felt sorry for him there, because he slept, and as he was about to wake up, he shattered and charged.
Not for the first time.
Oh man.
It's happened.
You know what? I really do feel sorry for tanks. Just in general. Tanks really have a tough time.
You don't even know half of it. Jeez. Because you think it looks bad, right? And then your team is flaming you. There's like no way.
Listen, you get that on support as well. There's like a Genji in the backline.
True that.
I'm dead.
Yeah.
You know what? Overwatch is a really hard game, guys.
It is a hard game. It's probably one of the hardest games, actually.
Yeah. Well, we're going to swap sides now. Odyssey managing to push through to third point. Vanguard somehow managing to hold on into overtime. And if Vanguard can somehow pull it out of their hat to push this through with time left over, that could be huge for them. But of course, the first hurdle is to push all the way to third point. And given their track record up until this point, you know, they started really strong on Busan, and since then it's kind of been like some weird sine graph. It hasn't really...
Sine graph is a good way to put it, actually.
I'm really glad I thought of that. I'm really proud of myself. Anyway, so let's see if they're gonna kind of continue on this like really weird trend. Can they push this through to third point?
Yeah. Something to bear in mind is that Rialto is one of those maps that are actually commonly not finished. So finishing it is worth a ton here. So Odyssey's got to be feeling good about how that first, how their attack went. And now they're defending very aggressively here. This is what we would have liked to have seen out of Vanguard, who instead decided to let them push all the way to first point, lose one team fight, and then lose the point. So this is much better. Oh, but maybe I spoke too soon, as Odyssey backing up here. Neither team has copped the loss yet. Oh, as I say that though, the deep James finds Sanction, and now Stalker getting aggressive here on the front line. James finds Sanction. Real this time, we promise. And looks like they're in control. That's a big anti-nade onto Pritz here. Ryan low. James with a quick ulti pushes it through. Pyro finds Assassin. Then JRB found by Pyro as well. Really nice work from the hit scan player, and now they're just swinging, running in, but this is the advantage when you take a fight early. Now the respawns are coming in and they can look for another fight, but maybe Stalker will try and end this one before it really gets started. But Fluffy going down, you have to think it's pretty difficult for Odyssey to get a foothold here again, but they do have a little bit of time.
They do have some time here, and they're probably going to mount a re-defense here before Payload does tick down onto touching. And
Shadow finds nobody, but he gets the charge through. Don't worry, boys. Don't worry. Okay, they used the grab to secure the point here. Unfortunately, JRB was on the wrong side of the wall, so he was actually still contesting there. Nice thought out of Von there, but it's not going to work out quite like he hoped. But they are still with a firm advantage here. Shadow is taken down by a headshot from Pyro there. The Ryan coming back in, charging through. Pretz is now in the mix once again, so they need to be careful here. Stalker dropping low, taken down. Pitts finds him with a fire strike. Pyro though consistently getting kills there from the backline. JRV taken down, but they're not pushing through. Phoenix brings Stalker back. That could be a difference maker. The Shadow doesn't find anything. Good decision from Pritz, but not quick enough on the draw to get Stalker before he puts his shield up. Now they're backing up the multi-core coming through here. Can they find anything? James does have his ulti here. Does he choose to commit it? Not just yet. As Assassin finds Phoenix on the front line. Out of position a little bit there was the Vanguard. Mercy Pyro though consistently finding JRP's Reaper there with good headshots from the Widowmaker. But it looks like it's going to be a reset here for Vanguard. Odyssey just barely holding on to first point.
Odyssey mounting a much better defense than what we saw from Vanguard. But is it going to be enough? Vanguard going to be coming through here. They're starting out with the sights, but they still have 4 more ultimates in their bank.
Committing another one as well. Big Shadow, big combo.
Dragon got eaten.
Sanction got eaten. Yeah, Sanction, sorry. 8 James's Dragon, but I don't think it's going to matter. Stalker manages to find a huge ulti on the front line, which should secure Vanguard the first point capture here.
That was so good. The Dragon coming in from the side, and everyone's like, okay, guys. And while they're running from the Dragon, straight into Stalker's Earth Shatter. Fantastic work there. Now
really
they are going to get this payload moving through. Got 2 ultimates still available to them. It is going to be the 2 support ultimates, but Odyssey, on the other hand, still got that self-destruct available, and of course the Death Blossom, which we've seen can be quite potent. But
James needs to not get taken
Oh,
down. Yeah, okay,
James!
never mind. Rip James, not for the first time this series. Down early, playing a little bit too aggressively positionally with the Hanzo there. Didn't quite have Phoenix on his back to keep him healthy. Oh, okay. That was a sweet Widow move. Almost jumped into the ocean, but she knew what she was doing. Oh, sorry, the room.
She knew what she was doing.
Yeah, she knew what she was doing.
I'm going to be, once again, just allowing quite a bit of space here, but not too much. I am actually enjoying seeing point here. They are ticking quite a lot of time off and not utilizing too many of their ultimates as well.
Yeah.
Just waiting for the right opportunity to make sure that they get the value out of it.
Oh, big Shadow, big combo. Finds 2. Sanction gets 2 down, and Assassin gonna follow up, but it's Pyro getting returns. He finds 1, he finds 2. This isn't over just yet, as Vanguard's DPS are putting in the work to bring their team back into fighting shape. Can they find any more Pyro trying to find Shadows, but neither team going to push forward here. When you lose all your tanks, there's not really that much you can do. Stalker is back here, so they are going to start moving forward on the card. He is a little bit isolated. He needs to be careful here. It's the bubble as Phoenix brings Pyro back up to full HP. And Pyro needs to be careful, or rather they need to be careful. Pyro, but maybe it's
JRV.
had their eyes on as he finds 3 in the back line. Stalker yeets himself off the map in solidarity, and unfortunately Vanguard gonna have to regroup here and rethink how they approach this next season.
Vanguard, you cannot allow that to happen. You have 6 ultimates, boy. 6. Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is every ultimate available to them. And I'm kind of waiting for that kind of grab dragon comp potentially, because there's really nothing to defend against that. They got the sound barrier, but it won't be enough to deal with all of that damage. A minute and a half here.
Oh no, big Shadow, that's everybody. Assassin was so far out of position, and Stalker, deciding he's going to get the kill on him. Nice nano, keeps him alive after he gets too aggressive, and Vanguard now in control of this team fight. How many ultis they committed? They committed 3 ultis, so
3 ultis, yeah.
As you could hope to be, and as they look to take second point away here, they will have about 3 minutes left on the clock, I think.
And despite it being 3
Okay,
ultimates,
hold on, not over yet. Okay.
Nah, it's over. It's over. Stalker already 60% to another Earth Shatter. He just used it. He got some fantastic value there out of charges and fire strikes, and it didn't even matter that he threw in that ultimate. It's almost like they only used 2 ults. It's really, really good play here from Vanguard. Odyssey kind of starting to struggle a little bit here, but now they have that spawn advantage, and we saw on King's Row how well they can utilize that. And we're starting things out with the multi-core.
Multi-core comes up, but slept immediately. Not able to get the duration out of that one. Pirates, be careful, there is multi-core behind him. He takes
Oh my god!
Oh no! It's a bit of an embarrassing way to lose that team fight. The molten core, even such a short duration, you got a lot of the core juices out of that one. I have another word for it, but it's not.
The core, okay? Like the core.
Yes, sorry, the core. The lava.
Yeah. The lava, okay? Not the other weird words that we could possibly think of.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Obviously.
so We got 2 defensive ultimates available here. There's going to be Earth Shatter from Pretz and the Coalescence from Fluffy. And now we've seen James back onto that Pharah. And I think that Coalescence could be exactly what they need to help deal with him, get him out of the sky.
Sanctions decided he's gonna make James his problem as he flies right into his face. Pew pew. Speaking of pew pew, self-destruct going in. Shadow follow up and that's the combo. Ladies and gentlemen, 4K. The combo between the main tank and his orc tank kills everybody. Except Pyro, who kills Assassin.
we saw a 3K a little bit earlier on, but the 4K, that's play the game right there, boys. Fantastic little hold there. Now we're down to sub 1 minute. And Fluffy is still sitting on that Coalescence. Now we do have an Earth Shatter from Stalker available, as well as the Valkyrie. That is a ton of healing to try and get them through this next point. There is not a lot of time here for Vanguard to make any sort of a move. And once again, they need to win this if they want to stay in.
They're trying to find Reaper in the backline. They do just that, okay? And they've got the Shatter as well. Commits to Shatter, finds nothing. But then they're straight into Pretz's shield, but they can't find anything more. But they are finding kills. Sorry, they get the turret. Not a huge deal in the backline, but the shield's dropping low, and they're forcing them back. Your Stalker needs to be careful. He's dropping a bit low, especially with Sanction in the back there. Pretz needs to be careful. His shield's dropping low. He's nano boosted now. Gets aggressive, swinging away, but he's not able to find anything. Do they find? Yes, they do find JRV's Reaper on the front line there. Pyro picking up the end of that one, and Pyro does have the EMP. So this is a pretty good situation for Vanguard. Can they get the follow-up? There's the EMP. It finds everybody except JRV, who's dead in spawn. He's going to come out with the Death Blossom, but it's going to be too little too late here as Vanguard in control. There's the Death Blossom, hacked immediately, taken down, and another overtime completion here. Everything to play for on Rialto.
Jeez, 1 minute for both teams. Now let's kind of backtrack a little bit and think about how these two teams have done on their respective attacks. Odyssey, really weird defense from, or rather, very weird offense. Yeah, Odyssey had like the weirdest defense in that they didn't have one until like third point. Yeah, they just did nothing. They just walked backwards.
But look, I was thinking about it, and it actually kind of makes sense with the composition they were running on first point. With the double sniper, you kind of have to let the snipers do the work. So it makes sense in some ways to just back up and give space for your snipers to get the damage in, but unfortunately they weren't able to get those picks. So it kind of just looks like you're just wandering backwards over and over as they cap the point in front of you.
Yeah, it's a pretty big butt, you know. Yeah. That's a really important point there to take note. But we're going to have a look here, and it is going to be Vanguard on defense. And this time, not running the full-on double sniper, going to be running James on that Pharah, and we have seen how powerful and potent he can be on that. Glad to see that they're swapping it up a little bit. Hopefully they won't be holding S too much on this one, because Pharah can play a little bit more aggressive, but it's going to be dueling Pharahs as Assassin is coming out on the Pharah as well. So the epic sky battle is upon us, but it will be backed up by Pyro, and Pyro tends to find JRV's head.
Yeah, he's been doing a really good job of getting those kills, and he's been fighting JRV consistently.
Like specifically.
Yeah. James and the opposite Pharah.
Oh.
Speaking of which, Pyro making the difference there in the Pharah duel. It's not quite a Pharah duel so much as two Pharah shooting each other while the Widow gets the kills, but it is good for Vanguard as they find their first pick, and now they find Fluffy. There's only one that can be raised, and JRV killed by James as well. So this Pharmacy, when he's got no Pharah to shoot against, he's free reign in the sky and he's getting all the kills. Assassin is on the Sombra now. I'm not quite sure how I managed to get in so quickly. I thought he was raised. But he is on that Sombra now, and I hear you making noises there, and I feel the same way about Assassin Sombra. But let's see if he can get something done on this point. Is much better defense from Vanguard this time, and James opens the door there with the rocket barrage. The Diva's on 1 HP as well as Pyro finds Assassin's Sombra, as we spoke about. Not able to get anything done, and it looks like Vanguard with a much better defense here on first point Rialto.
Hey, they didn't press S this time. I think exactly what they needed was James on that Pharah. Fantastic play there. And he did a lot of work. He got a ton of picks. And I was really surprised to see Assassin swap onto that Sombra. I don't really know what the point of that was. I suppose it was because he had both James and Pyro on him trying to get him out of the sky. And he was like, well, I need to swap onto something that can get value, but isn't necessarily going to get deleted every time I walk out of spawn. But Sombra might not have been the pick.
They
Yeah.
seem to feel comfortable using that as a counter to Pharah. It seems like that's how they're running it, and I don't quite understand. It's okay, but I mean, there's better counters.
Ready for battle.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you can hack her out of the sky and then everybody can get her. You could just shoot her.
Yeah,
You know, just click on her head, lol.
it's just that easy. You can see you don't play a lot of DPS, eh?
You know? A little disappointed to see Assassin coming out on the Torbjorn. We have seen how badly that has gone for Odyssey before on their
It's been mixed.
defenses.
Let's say it's been mixed, which is the truth.
Yeah, it kind of mixed results. I find when they run it on defense, it doesn't work. When they run it on something like control or assault, where it's everybody rushing towards a point
Yeah.
and then yeet the turret out somewhere, then suddenly we start getting results.
Yeah.
But when you're actually on like a defensive stance, it hasn't been getting the value that they would have liked. But let's see, maybe they turn it around this time. Maybe that placement is like the god spot for Torbjorn turrets, as we're going to be seeing James coming out on that Pharaoh once again. Maybe the turret's exactly what they need.
Maybe it is, but the thing is, James can just shoot it, and there it goes. Turret's dead. So that's the problem if you're not going to use your shields to protect it, which you don't always want to do. You kind of have it. Sometimes you want to have it on that off angle, being a nuisance on its own. But with the Pharah, she can just take it out of the game like that. So not getting a ton of value just yet, but Stalker on the front line here, putting in so much damage with that fire strike, and now dropping low is Pretz, and James again just gonna get rid of that pesky turret. But really think, oh, that boop needs to be careful. But nice, Jeremy in the back line finds possible to on the front line. He finds so much better in the follow-up from Pyro, rather the Pyro cleaning up his back line when Stalker's in full control. But the Coalescence now from Fluffy in opposite direction. Could they find this? Assassin finds one. This is still very even, Naori. No team with the advantage here of Von. It actually looks like Odyssey now with the advantage. They've got the numbers. Von with the nano boost onto Von.
Big anti.
The big anti. Oh no. They need to be careful. Phoenix has a gun out shooting the turret. Please get rid of it. And now the grab comes through. This is a beautiful combination play from the Vanguard players. The nano boosted Zarya charging up her ulti. A big shadow comes through, but it's not enough. James back on his trusty Doomfist here, punching some things, punching some walls. It's just Sanction left here. Respawns won't be enough to save Odyssey. And Vanguard are going to take us to a 2-2. Our first 5-map series, your second one.
The
actually, but anyway.
sine wave continues.
Yes! Perfect. Win one,
No.
other team win one.
Play
Perfect.
of the game.
I think it's more like a table mountain graph.
That's true, yeah.
Oh man, this is so intense. Onto map 5, and that's going to be control. And again, this is where we kind of going to be seeing how evenly contested it. Busan went heavy-handedly to Vanguard, but when we went onto Lijiang for that best of one, like Odyssey just wiped the floor with them. It was like Vanguard didn't even show up to that map. So now we're going to be moving on to what are the choices here? We got no, it's
Havana.
not control.
He's hectic.
It's control. I'm being silly. Is it the same pool? So like
Yeah,
Oasis.
so it's Oasis or Ilios, yeah.
All right.
And it
Oh,
looks like it's
looks
going to be
like it's-
Ilios, yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty exciting. And Ilios, another map where you can get a ton of value out of Pharaohs. You can get a ton of value out of Widowmakers, depending, of course, on which map you are playing. But there's
Yeah.
some great sight lines on some of these maps. And oh man, this has actually been a really exciting series.
Very much so. You know, at different points, different teams have looked stronger. And as we said, Odysseys look like the better team in a lot of these maps. But Vanguard's making a match of this. They're maybe looking not as clean as they looked at the beginning, but they have more than enough in the tank to take points against Odyssey.
Yeah, it's been fairly even, and I think that these teams are. Okay, I said it's been even, but it is. It really is an even matchup. I couldn't look at these two teams and say, oh, this one is better than that one. It has been very even-footed. Their decision-making is very similar. It feels like they have very similar grasps on the concept and how they're running their composition. So that's kind of what makes this matchup so interesting, is that every map, it's been like 99 to 99, or been 1 minute overtime, and then you have your like weird fluke ones where it's like, oh, we have 5 minutes to push. Well,
Yeah.
we'll just hold you for 5 minutes,
I'll
I
just hold
guess.
you for
Like,
4 minutes, yeah.
like screw you.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's this is probably one of the better series that I've casted recently. I'm
Definitely.
really enjoying it.
We spoke right at the start how Odyssey is going to be that team because they're in the middle of the standings everywhere and they're kind of better than most teams and yet somehow simultaneously worse than most teams. This is the kind of team that Vanguard are going to have a really good sense of where they stack up in the scene, and it looks like they stack up right beside Odyssey, depending on whether they win or lose this one, either a little bit above or a little bit below. So this is a very interesting look for Vanguard, and unfortunately still doesn't give us the greatest sense of how they stack up to other teams in many ways.
Yeah, absolutely. Teams have asked for a short break, and I think that we could take a short break as well. We've been talking our faces off. So, hey, geez, an hour and 40 minutes.
Easy.
It doesn't even feel that long. we are professional.
So we're just gonna take a 5-minute break here, guys. We'll be right back with the final game in this barnstormer of a series. See you guys soon.
Trilogy, 36 the Cuban links, it's all pillage B. You know the history, burn like patisserie. Clan in the front, chest boxing is the mystery. Clan in the front, we want the killer.
My tail is a killer.
We can defeat any competition anywhere in the world.
Worldwide, on the move, on the real, worldwide, 47 and 365. It's in the well, watch.
I admire your confidence. What do we do in the meantime?
So we move like militants, Saudi Arabians, red flag the airports, banned by Canadians, kicked out of stadiums, followed by hip-hop police, yo. I got a cease and desist, big eagle on the wrist, they think it's a weapon, so I melt the shit down to the day of redemption, not to mention, my pension is 8 tons of gold. Wu-Tang Clan, 100 niggas on the road, we move with such power, empower such movement, sold out shows for years, we move units, we make the crowd chant, Wu-Tang forever, shoot for the sun, moon, and stars, y'all little dippers. Crowd pleaser, crowd pleaser.
You are pioneering a method.
The lost wax process. Where exactly is your destination?
Worldwide, no matter where you are, worldwide, moving indeed, worldwide, here we go, yo, worldwide, we on the rise. I like to rip off mics.
Must be destroyed, you understand?
Heroes in the real world live 24 hours a day, not just 2 hours in a game.
I'll be a good boy and drink your milk.
Okay.
You know well what I've been through, living there without a view, asking why we missed our chance, and now I'm looking for something to get by, high and dry, everywhere in myself. I'm looking for high and dry, everywhere. I'm looking for how can I even know what lies ahead if I don't go? I see a chance, I take it slow, and I know I just can't leave these things behind. Trying to feel satisfied in my world. I am looking for
All right, welcome back everybody to this incredibly exciting series. My name is SunPheonyx, joined again by NaoriMizuki, and it's Vanguard versus RQ Odyssey 2-2. Vanguard just managing to take Rialto in a very close match. As we head into Ilios here, this should be a really exciting one.
Yeah, I mean, just to kind of remind everybody, we spoke a little bit about how RQ Odyssey is kind of super middle of the pack in ZA at the moment, just going on like the RMG results. 6 games played, 3-1, 3 lost, 0 map differential. So like there is middle of the pack as you can possibly be.
Yeah.
And then Vanguard, this team that we kind of knew nothing about, really came out of nowhere. A couple of players that have been in the scene previously, but not for some time. I mean, we're really seeing them for the first time now. And they're doing really well. They're holding their own, and they've brought this up to a 2-2. So I think it's been a really good indication of what we can expect from Vanguard going forward. But now as we move into this 5th map, I mean, this is do or die for these two teams. Okay, maybe it's not that dramatic, but it's really important.
The first match they're playing, it's not quite do or die.
Well, it's do or die for this game. Let's put it that way.
Yes, fair enough. And just to remind you guys, this is the Overwatch by ATK tournament, our calibration round of the tournament, a 6-week bracket or group stage into a bracket that's going to determine how these teams are seeded heading into the leg stages. Of course, all headed towards that 50k prize pool, and at the end of the year, coronavirus willing, of course.
Coronavirus willing, yeah. That sounds about right. But here we go.
It's our new god, coronavirus.
Right, well, we got more of the same for you folks. We got the Reaper Farah and the Reaper Torbjorn, and we've got a dead turret. This is feeling like deja vu.
Not for the first time this series, James. Stationary static defense there and putting damage over the top of the shield. He's doing a lot of damage here. It's already 62% up towards his ulti, helped of course by Phoenix on that Mercy, and he's kept the team back long enough for Vanguard to take the point. Possum going to find the first kill onto JRV here as Pretz dropping low, taken down by Pyro on the front line, and Vanguard looking about as good as they did on Busan here.
Yeah, Odyssey, please find a hit scan. Torb's turret, it may be auto aim, but it is a hit scan. It is not. So like, you need something to deal with that Farah, and please don't let it be.
I mean, it is literally a hit scan.
But they are running out with the same thing here. No ultimates really to speak of aside from the Coalescence, which might be exactly what they need to get James out of the sky here. But James is being so oppressive.
Well, speaking of ultimates, that Coalescence does come out, but it's answered immediately by the window. But the window is not a shield. And Odyssey, or rather Vanguard, are learning that as Odyssey come out of the gates with a bang, killing all 6 of the members and only losing Assassin JDB's Torbjorn. 45% on the clock for Vanguard, but they're going to have to come in with something different on the attack.
If you're going to come out with something cheesy and turrety, I would Assassin can actually exceptionally well on this point. Once you get onto point and set up those turrets, it becomes a mini microwave. So I would have possibly liked to have seen that, but Torbjorn's Molten Core can do some fantastic space denial here, particularly with all the walls in the way. So could just be that it works out for them, and he does have that Molten Core available.
To watch the window here, James coming in through the chimney like Santa Claus, but bringing death instead of presents. Here he comes. He pops his ulti, doesn't find anything, and kills himself.
James!
Well, that's not how Santa Claus usually operates, but I think Vanguard have got enough here. But Phoenix taken down as well. Fight is even now. Big Shadow coming through. Pyro gets the Moira on the backline. A big anti-nade, gonna make life difficult for Odyssey here as Vanguard clean up. It's just Stalker, Shadows rather, left on the point. He's taken down by Pyro, and Vanguard in control of the point once again. 54% on the clock.
Yeah, not a bad hold there, but unfortunately for them, Vanguard doing some fantastic work here to hold on. You have the Surge available and the Death Blossom, which once again, powerful combination, and if they can rotate those ultimates nicely, then they could potentially keep control of this point. They do need to be aware. They got to be aware of these ults.
Jerry might go down here. He TP'd in the back line. He's taken down, but they lose Possum and Fluffy putting in the work there to find the kill. And now it's all kills in all directions here, but it looks like Odyssey with their advantages. Fluffy with their coalescence once again. He's been doing so much work all series with the Moira ulti.
Yeah, I mean, that coalescence is very, very powerful, very dangerous. Particularly if you've got the rest of your team backing you up. I mean, you can do so much with it. And they only use that ultimate to regain control of the point. They've got another 3 ready to go, and they're going to have a Molten Core very, very soon. That space denial, we've seen it time and time again. It can do wonders. However, Vanguard coming through here with still many, many ultimates to use of their own. They've also got that nano boost. It could be exactly what they need to try and push in.
Very much so. Nano boost committed here. Pyro with the bit. Santa Claus of a different kind, getting all the kills through the chimney, and I mean that's about as efficient as you can get for a Vanguard player.
Well, they used 3 ultimates, which is quite the commitment. In fact, both support ultimates used in that fight. It's not ideal, and we're going to be seeing the clock is ticking up here, but there's still 3 ultimates available.
Oh god, Pyro finds Pretz on the front line. They will get on the point and touch, but they're not going to find anything. Jeremy charged down by Stalker, returning to point the fastest way he knows how. Shadow's going to commit the ulti here. Assassin finds James on the front line, so Odyssey are looking actually pretty healthy here, but without a main tank, they're going to struggle. The charge goes through. Can he get the diva before the bomb explodes? No, he can't. And in fact, Pyro taken down by Sanch and self-destruct there. So looking difficult, but that's a big shot. He finds 2 on the front line, and he gets the cleanup immediately afterwards. Finds Sanchin as well. Stalker putting the team on his back here as he picks up a clean 4K to secure this point for Vanguard.
Wow, really, really good display here from Vanguard. And this is not what we saw in Lijiang, but it's like Busan 2.0. Maybe the 5-minute break. They really needed that to just kind of like, okay, guys, get it together. You know, we need to sort this out. And maybe this is where they turn it around for themselves. This is potentially the last map we could be seeing of this round if Vanguard have their way. We're gonna be seeing James on that Genji, and I think that they're possibly expecting JRV on that Widowmaker.
Yeah,
possibly you're gonna be trying to deal with that, yeah. They do need to be careful because there is also a Lucio, which can completely deny the blade. And they've swapped off of the Anna, so there'll be no nano to help James through.
Yeah, interesting decision there, running the Moira instead of the Anna. Phoenix deciding she'd rather be on the Lucio to help the tanks mobilize forward. Speaking of tanks, bit of a difference here. Von on the Zarya, but Sanchin gonna be keeping on that diva, deciding that's a better way for them to play, but JRV finds the opening pick. James needs to get on top of him, and he is here, it looks like, but not able to find anything. And Assassin is getting kills on the front line, but neither team has a main tank now, but advantage still towards Odyssey, and they're gonna press that advantage here as they find a couple of picks on the front line. Assassin and JRV working together. James couldn't get it out of there as JRV picks him up, and Odyssey gonna take the first cap here on Ruins.
And Possum going down there as well. Just a little last minute late kill there as well. Going to delay Vanguard a little bit. They are going to swap up here. And going to be going on to a much more hard and fast dive. Still, oh, there we go. Pyro swapping over onto that Widowmaker. This is what I wanted to see. And I'm really glad to see that this is what they're going to be rolling out with here on this second attempt. Because their dive was actually pretty good on Volskaya. So let's see if they can pull through the same kind of results.
Let's see indeed. JRV very aggressive here on the backline. Wraith forms in. He's going to get taken down here for his trouble. Find anything in the meanwhile. Now pushing forward here with the dive. There's no Reaper, so the tanks can do whatever they want here. And they do just that. Getting aggressive. Stalker and Von not able to find any picks here, but now putting everybody under pressure. Pretz is still okay on the front line, dropping low. Sanchin in fact dropping very low, but Stalker going right deep onto JRV, getting out before the Assassin gets back on the Reaper. So good work from the Vanguard main tank. Pulls back as well to demix Sanchin. He's everywhere and nowhere simultaneously. The main tank of Vanguard putting again his team on the back and securing them a return cap here.
Stalker out here being Tracer. He blinks to one side of the map, gets the kill, blinks to the other side, helps get that kill. He's an absolute machine and gets the assassination onto the Widowmaker, which is exactly what you want from your Winston. Really dominant displayer from Vanguard. 2 ultimates in their bank. They've got that Nano Blade ready to go in Shadows. No beat to speak of.
No, and he's quite far away from it as well. And didn't talk about it. Possum, like you say, did switch onto the Ana, so she does have that Nano Boost. Here it comes. Nano Blade in. No counter sleep. Never mind. Fluffy has him covered. He's got the Nano Boost as well, and you've got to be feeling pretty bad if you're James is charging to a wall. That is how you counter 2 ultis with 1 ability. Fluffy this time putting his team on his back. As Odyssey now can move forward and get aggressive as Jeremy gets the better of the sniper duel, and Assassin JDB commits to Death Blossom. It's a celebratory firework there from Von. He's not going to find anything, but he does squish Assassin with the remake, and he's going to just try and buy his team a little bit of time. We might see some trickle come out here from the side of Vanguard, but JRV punches Stalker in his nose. The poor scientist not able to keep himself alive, but now Pyro finds JRV. Are they going to be able to keep this point flipped for a little bit longer? 61% and counting on the side of Vanguard, and with the deflect, finally James taken down. Are they going to get in there? No, they're not. Finally, point flipped for Odyssey, 65% on the clock.
Oh, dying to a remake is such a feels bad, man. Of all the things you could die to.
Yeah.
Bruh. Alright, we got ultimates online here for Odyssey. So good to maintain their hold. They got a big Earth Shatter potentially and a nice little self-destruct. We've seen how they can combo those things together and get a nice big old 4K. So let's see if they can pull that one out of their hat once again. Starting things out with the sights though. That's going to give Vanguard all the information that they need on the enemy team.
100%. Jeremy not quite at his yet, but they commit. Shadow's ulti, Assassin. Well, back up to fighting prowess here, and Pyro gets the pick though, and James brought back to life, but they lose Von's mech in the meanwhile. So this fight very even so far, but that Shadow finds nothing. You need to get more out of that if you're going to win this team fight, but maybe you will with the charge through onto Stalker. He finds that kill. The self-destruct in the zone, then back off Vanguard. Need to find something special here if they're going to bring this one back, and maybe the blade is what they need. They go through. He's focusing tanks, but he gets a nano now. Will he find the Reaper? He gets a couple of swipes. He gets him. Can he get the D-Mech? No. JRV gonna kill his Mercy, and that's gonna be the end of James's fun here, as Odyssey gonna equalize thing here as we're taking it all the way on our 5th map.
This is so close. We're going to map 3 of map 5. These teams are relentless. They are tenacious. They just absolutely refuse to give in, and honestly, I'm here for it. I'm loving every minute of this.
Remember, this is also map 6 because we did play a tiebreaker on Lijiang. There was even a draw, so it actually almost literally doesn't get closer.
Almost
Boston versus Houston notwithstanding.
Oh, man. All right, well, let's see. We're moving over onto Well here, and this is one of those maps where we see a lot of boop potential. It's one of my favorite maps for boops. And we're not running too many boop heroes, and I'm really disappointed by this. Come on, guys. You can do better. You can be better.
Do you see the pharmacy coming out of Vanguard here? Not surprising.
Something.
JRV sitting on his Widowmaker this time, so he's going to try and counter out the pharmacy like we saw Pyro doing a good job of earlier. Pyro, speaking of which, is on that Reaper, so a bit of a mixture in terms of brawl from them, and he's getting so aggressive. Does he get taken down? Does James find the kill? Make JRV trying to get out there, but he's taking him down. Finally finds the kill onto the enemy Widowmaker, and now he's got free reign off the skies, although Sanction's got something to say about that. Frontline needs to be careful though. There's a Reaper all up on your main tank, and he takes
my word.
And now JRV's back in the mix. He finds the kill on Phoenix as James finds a return onto Assassins. Everybody's dying. No advantage just yet, but it looks like Vanguard are in fact gonna have the better of the trade here. It's just Sanch.
Sanchin.
Okay. Gonna need him anyways. Besides, he's gonna remake there. Let's just call it what it is. It was a remake.
Yeah, absolutely.
Looks to come in here as James gets a nice late pick onto the Widowmaker.
Oh, JRV going down consistently to James. That is so unfortunate. Widow is supposed to counter this Pharah, and somehow James still has free reign up in the sky, up to 76% to that barrage. Possum, however, 90% to a nano boost. This dude is insane on this Ana, absolutely popping off here, denying so much space, and oh, Pyro with the early pick.
Nice early pick from him as Stalker gets very aggressive. There's a Shadow going through Press, finds nothing with that again. He's not able to get the value of the Shadows today. Sleep onto Stalker, makes his life very difficult. On 3 HP, somebody get him, and speaking of getting him, he gets another boost, so he's all up and healthy again. He's gonna swing away here, happy as a bunny. And one thing we didn't mention is that we do see the legs out from JRV here.
Wow, they finally realized that hit hands are game. Am I?
Well, he switched from Widow, so he was on the hit.
Instantly dies to Pyro.
But he has got 60% of his ulti, so he's been doing something.
somewhere in the back line where nobody has noticed him, which is probably fine. You know what? He's doing his job, the silent ninja in the back line there. But is it going to be enough? Come next fight with 2 ultimates, starting it out with the self-destruct.
Oh god, beautiful combo. Chris set that one up perfectly with a charge through onto Stalker, puts him back there and immediately taken down. That is what you want to see if you are Odyssey. Once again, the tank's coming in clutch.
That was so insane, and that by all rights should not have got any value. But I think, you know, coming from over the wall up and over, and everyone's like, oh, where's it coming from? That should have been a dead giveaway, but unfortunately they just weren't able to get into a nice little hidey hole there. All ultimates down, however, but JRV gonna have that sight any second now. Got a lot of ultimates online here for Vanguard, though. They can easily turn this around.
Tactical side coming out here, Pyro. Celebratory dance in the backline here. Not find anyone to play with, though, as Phoenix commits the Valkyrie as well. Vanguard committed a decent number of ultis there, but not able to find anything, and neither did the tactical visor from Mr. Legs himself. Speaking of ultis, Assassin JDB in the background, getting some value, but not able to find anything. This big shadow, though. Can they get the kills? Anti-Nate going in both directions. The bomb finds Assassin JDB. The Reaper not able to survive the self-destruct, as it looks like Vanguard gonna be pushing this one back. No! D2 on! He gets pooped back after flying in towards Shadows, reminding him. Oh god, Stalker, okay, no, don't need him either. Shadows putting the team on his back this time, boop after boop after boop, keeps his team in the mix here, but unfortunately, it's the Vanguard DPS who are also coming up clutch, getting all the kills for their team, and it looks like they're gonna even things up, but remember, this is favoring Odyssey. They control the point as Pyro takes a nap and is immediately removed from the game by Assassin JDP, and unfortunately, you'll find that this is for Odyssey. Vanguard are the ones who need to make the play here. Vanguard are the ones who need to make the difference here, coming into this final fight. 84% on the clock. Neither team has an advantage anymore as the respawns have come through. That's a sleep. Can they get the boop? No, he decides he's going to wake him up for fun. Ha, don't worry, guys, I got him. Stalker dropping low. Brought up to full fighting shape here. James does have that ultimate. He finds 2 both tanks taking a lie down there with the charge, and now we're into overtime. Vanguard need to find something special here. Phoenix brings Stalker back up to fighting shape, but he's nowhere near his ulti, and the Legs with the tank visor is cleaning up. It's the Legs that's making the difference. The celebratory ulti here from Assassin JDB, and Odyssey gonna take the closest series we've seen this year and 3-2 over Vanguard.
Odyssey played that last fight so well, slow and steady, getting so much value from that Lucio as well, getting those boops into the well and giving them a little bit more space to breathe so that they could push in a little bit more, get those resources back, maintain control of the point. Slow, and eventually they managed to clear out the point and take control. This was a fantastic display from both of these teams, and honestly it could have gone either way, but it was Odyssey that come out on top. Damn.
Really well played by Odyssey there. Just seemed to have a little bit extra in the tank. You have to wonder if the fatigue at the end there played any part into that. But Naori, before we go, you know the drill. We gotta get our player of the match. Who do you think was the strongest performer in this very close series?
I'm gonna give it to... I'm gonna give it to Fluffy. Because some of those sleeps... Those sleeps were just insane.
Yeah, we saw the coalescences as well. He was he was putting in a DPS's work on that support, so I can definitely agree with that. Shout out as well to Stalker, especially on the last map, really showed. James as well. The Pharaoh made a huge difference, and a few standouts here and there. Possum you mentioned, so a lot of strong performance, but I agree. Fluffy, captain of the team, at least I think he is. I think Pretz is actually captain, but Fluffy, you know, one of the stronger players on the team, and putting really
look at me, I'm the captain now.
From Fluffy, yeah. So we will jump into a short. We'll keep it short, guys. Everybody's tired as hell, I'm sure.
Jeez, yeah.
We can jump into.
Let's have a. Okay, yeah, we gotta move. On it's so far down, I had to scroll. We got there in the end, chat. We got there.
Hopefully we do get Fluffy in here. We're bringing him in, but yeah. Oh, here he is.
I was confused. I didn't know where to join. Hello.
Me neither.
Hello.
Don't worry about
Welcome.
it.
So, first of all, congratulations to
Thank you.
Fluffy and Odyssey for winning that game. I mean, how does it feel? 2 hours after the series starts, you
God.
guys secure the victory there. I'm sweating. I'm sure you guys are sweating. Tell us how you feel after that
That was
marathon.
intense. Win or lose, I think we're pretty happy with how we played. Like, it was a really good. Like, even if we'd lost that, I would have been quite happy with the game. It was a lot of fun. It was a good game.
Awesome.
Just like everyone is quite pumped in Odyssey
Yeah,
right now.
I hate to take you away from your team in this moment. I know this is like where you're like, oh, remember this play, remember that play. Oh my god.
It's all shadows booping people into holes in that last
Wow.
map.
Trust
Oh,
me,
dude, that
we
was
saw
so
that.
massive.
Yeah.
Oh man, it was so clutch.
But let's go back to the beginning of the series if you can cast your mind back so far. Vanguard, the team we don't know much about. Obviously, we're familiar with many of the players, but as a unit, we haven't seen this team really perform in any capacity. So, how did you think they were going to perform, and how do you feel it went based on your expectations?
Well, like you say, they're a new team, so there's like little to go on with regard to what they're going to play and how you can prepare. So, like, my thing is always, it doesn't matter who you're playing as long as you play well. So we didn't really like prepare for them like individually on stuff, but we know some of the players, so we thought, okay, if they're going to run weird things like this, then we'll be prepared. I don't know, we kind of just prepared a few strats. Some of them worked, some of them didn't, and then we tried them in the game.
So how do you feel like you did based on how how strong you thought they'd be?
Overall, or on that first map?
Overall.
Overall, I think we made a few mistakes. They made a few mistakes. There was some sloppy fights, but overall, it was a good performance from both teams, I thought.
Okay.
Like both teams, like, you could see how close it was the entire game.
Yeah. So we've thrown some criticism your way, Odyssey's way.
Yeah,
in
not
the
you specifically.
Not you specifically. For being kind of samey with your compositions, you tend to get the meta downloaded and then grind that out as much as possible. We saw something completely different, a lot of mixing it up in this series, trying different things. Is that a conscious decision you made, or just kind of something that unfolds over the course of the series?
That's May's band.
Oh, really?
May's banned, and
that
like
makes sense. Okay.
May's banned, McCree's banned, stuns are all banned. So like Tracer and Sombra and Doom are so strong.
Yeah.
And so that's why Moira's meta, like, well, stronger than she used to be. I mean, you can still kind of run Ana, but it's why we're running a Torb, because the Torb is really good against all three of those heroes.
Okay.
Like, not having May and McCree in the game, like, it's like just flip the table.
Yeah, nerfed you guys pretty hard.
Nerfed everyone. I mean, everyone's been playing. May's been in every team comp for the last year.
Yeah, that's fair. Naori, anything from your side?
Honestly, you covered most of what I wanted to cover, but I do just want to ask, obviously this is week one of the ATK thing, but RMG has been going on for quite some time now. The ZA scene has been pumping. This isn't like the start. So for your next matchup, who are you kind of most excited to play against? Is there like a big rivalry somewhere, or is there a particular team that you kind of have a yardstick, like these are the guys we need to beat, and then we know we're improving, and then you kind of push it forward a little bit further? Like, what's the team you're looking out for?
I would say the team that we want to beat most would probably be Evo. We already played them, so there's no real like game coming up. I think our next game is in RNG against Mist, but I mean, like we don't. It doesn't really matter who we're playing. We just to play our game and it's fine.
Okay.
As long as we play well, even if we lose and we play well, that's fine.
Awesome. So I have many more questions for you, but I'll keep it brief and ask you the last one now, so you can rejoin your team and then probably sleep for the rest of your life.
No, Overwatch League is starting.
Oh god, this dude, he's committed, eh? He's committed.
Don't you want to see Torb memes? Come on.
So before we go, I always like to ask the same question. If you could give any advice to Vanguard based on what you saw today, what would it be?
Advice. I think they need to. It's difficult with hero bans, but get a better handle of what's strong, because when we were running, like the inverted commas meta comp, and they were running like weird things with an Ashe and a Hanzo and a Pharah, we were kind of stomping them. And then when we changed off that, it was more even. So maybe if they were better on the meta, it would be they probably might have taken it. Who knows? That didn't happen, so can't say. But I mean, they played really well, so I can't really say do this. I mean,
yeah,
it was really close.
Yeah, not so easy when it's a 3-2 series like that. No. Well, Fluffy, thanks so much for joining us, and congrats again for you.
Pleasure, thank you. Thanks for casting.
No problem. Where can we find you on the internet?
Nowhere.
Nowhere? Oh no.
No.
Is that why you've got the hidden
Evil Kermit? No, I own a hoodie like that.
Oh, fair enough.
I'm a boomer. I don't have Twitter.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm a boomer. I have Twitter. What?
I'm a boomer at heart. I'm like a 90-year-old man.
Okay. Cool.
So you can't find Fluffy anywhere, but you can find it at RQ_molding at the moment because I haven't changed your damn name back.
It was April Fool.
So it's April Fool, which was like 5 days ago. But anyways, so that's where you can find them. Usually on RQ_Odyssey. Otherwise, you can follow RageQuit at RageQuit_ZA. I think off the top of my head. Naori, you know the drill. Where can we find you?
If I have the social media platform, find me at NaoriMizuki. If you don't find me, I don't have it.
Awesome. So no Instagram, no TikTok, none of that stuff we mentioned earlier.
I mean, I have Instagram, but I don't have TikTok. You just have to go into the platform and search my name, and if you don't find it, I'm not there.
At ThePeachZA, our wonderful producer, designed all our graphics, and everything you see on screen was designed by Peach, except of course Overwatch itself.
No, including the game. It's scripted.
Okay, no. He designed. He is Jeff. At ThePeachZA on Twitter, at ThePeachZA on Twitch as well. Occasionally streams from there. Give him a follow as well, and give him some good words of encouragement for the hard work he puts in. My name, of course, has been SunPheonyx at SunPheonyx on Twitter. SunPheonyx. That's where you can find me. That's the only place you can find me. And of course, don't forget to follow COWSA at ZA Overwatch. And very, of course, is at ATK Arena. And use the hashtag OverwatchByATK for all your tournament needs and things. Oh, there's a lot. Okay. So, thanks so much to everyone for watching. Thanks, of course, to the teams for putting on such an awesome series to watch. And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.